we're still setting up and we'll let people come in. But curious, I know there's a chat right now, so can you guys hear me right now? And if so, please let me know. I see Mike and Michelle, so nice to see you guys from Canada. I guess you're back. Awesome, seems to be working. We have a classic video with Nora that we love to watch where there's a guessing game and they're trying to guess the language or something, and then the girl is saying oui. But she struggled to figure it out. Nora is actually supposed to be joining, so I'll just text her right now. She might be making brownies, so that's actually pretty good. Sorry about that. Volume is low. All right, yes, thank you. Let me try to figure that out. Does that help? And skin. All right, does that help with the volume? There might be a delay before me seeing stuff, so a little bit better. Okay, let me put it all the way. Okay, that cannot be higher than that. If that's not good enough, I might change the audio source. Just let me know. It's better, great. Perfect, awesome. Well, now maybe it's too much if there was a delay. Sorry about that, still getting used to it. Actually, I realized that just before starting the stream, which is why I look a little bit like... I'm preparing footage for you guys, and half the file that I prepared crashed, so I'm in the background reprocessing. So if you hear a sound that sounds like an helicopter, that's my computer trying really hard to cool down while it's working overtime to make the footage work. But awesome, great. Well, thanks for joining, guys. I texted Nora. Hopefully she will come. She's a little bit busy right now, but thanks for joining. Today we're going to talk about Tahoe. Where's the camera? The camera's that one. All right. We're going to talk about Tahoe 200 mile, which was actually a great experience and kind of a bit of a surprise for me because just before the race, I didn't even know if I was going to make it or not because of an injury. And I really decided to let it be a decision of the day almost, even though I made the decision stage gate a little bit. So first, do I plan the trip over there? And then I was like, yes, okay, I'm at least going to be there. Then when I'm there, okay, I'm going to wait until the morning to see if I'm ready to go. And especially that because of Cruel Jewel, which really was a wrong decision to race, I really did not feel confident as opposed to usual that my injury was well healed. So I did train pretty hard just before the race to test it as much as possible, but I didn't know how it would hold. And I mean, spoiler alert, it held just fine. I mean, obviously Tahoe was difficult and I struggled and I was hissing and puffing and bitching, but not because of the injury, mostly not because of the injury. So that was pretty good. But before we get diving, I'm curious, so who's in the chat right now? Where are you watching from? And actually I can bring up the chat, I think, here. Yes, that is great. I'm even gonna kick off the videos in the background so that we can actually have something playing. I'll just grab the file that are actually working. Great with the last chain. Awesome. Yes, perfect. So we have, oh, Montreal, French Canadian, perfect. Minnesota, I say Minnesota wrong. Philly, nice, East Coast. I actually was going to Philly all the time when I lived in Boston. At some point I had a contract with a company that was in the area, so I was flying there all the time. So it's great to actually see someone from there. Yeah, Mike was there this weekend, or yeah, I guess it was last weekend. Racing together is great to be together. There were actually a lot of Canadian racing Tahoe. I don't know if that's an attraction that we have for Tahoe, but I mean myself, I loved it there, so maybe that's something. Jerome, Arizona. Oh wow, that is really cool. That's where Cocodona goes. In Baltimore, Pollen. I read Portland. Oh wow, it's pretty late for you in Pollen. Well, nice to join actually. I'm always struggling as to when I should do these things so that I'm able to catch people in Europe. Actually, maybe it's even early by now. So catching people from Europe, but still being able to catch people from East Coast US, West Coast US. So it's actually pretty challenging. And actually, if you guys have a better suggestion of time as to when to do it, just please let me know because I'm testing every time, every day, just to see what sticks with people. But that seems to be pretty good. All right, so we'll get started with the actual footage in the background, so that you don't have to focus too much on my lovely face. And yeah, I actually figured that out. Shoot, we're gonna be. Oh, I don't know. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Okay, that's my face, but don't worry, you don't have to focus on that. That's pre-race stuff. Oh, 1 a.m. in Poland. Oh my God. Oh, we have Nora actually joining. 1 a.m. in Poland, so I'll try to make it quick, right? So you can go to bed. But yeah, so as I said, like coming in the race was super stressful. Nora is here.
Hi.
It's hot in the studio, huh?
It's really hot in here.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
hot in the studio. I'm sorry. I had to close the window because of the sound.
Okay.
You want to say hi to people?
Hi.
Hi, people.
Where's the... That?
Huh?
Which
It's
word?
this one.
Hi.
You can see where we are, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's...
I'm bad at the
It's
text stuff.
no, it's a process for sure.
Hi.
But yeah, so coming in the race, I was so nervous about the injury. I think I was telling you every day.
Yeah.
The injury was really bad. So if we take from like last thing was Cruel Jewel. Cruel Jewel was such a mistake to do.
Yep.
It was pretty clear, like
Yep.
when I started, that maybe that was not great, but afterwards that was an absolute disaster for about 3 weeks, I guess. I couldn't really walk except to go to the toilet, and that's only if I really needed to go. So that was pretty bad, but then I did aggressively PT and stretching and these things, and it starts getting better kind of drastically, almost from one day to the other. A week before the race, I went from I can't walk a mile to, oh, I can actually walk a mile and it's not painful, just uncomfortable. Then I stretched it more and more and more, did a lot of aggressive PT, physiotherapy. And then the fact that I was able to move really helped it. And then I just tested it. I tested running, and amazingly, running was much easier than walking, which was super weird. I could run, like the first day I probably did a mile, then it was like 4 miles, 6 miles, 10 mile, 10 mile, 20 mile, and that was always fine. And then I think you were the one to suggest, like, Simon, like you say all the time, walking is worse, so how about you walk like 5 miles? And then I did a 5 miles walking. I was like, that's actually like not great. I would rather run 20 miles than walk 5 miles, and that really worried me for the race because
it's more walking.
It's more walking than running, especially after a day. So I was like, well, usually you always say, well, worst case scenario, I'm just going to walk a lot. But in this case, I was like, well, I don't want to fall back to walking, which in the end I did have to do. But yeah, so I was pretty nervous, and she couldn't join, unfortunately. So that was really sad because Tahoe, we did Tahoe Rim Trail 100 mile last year. And I mean, I think your conclusion was, what was it for you? What did you think?
I mean, for me, that it was one of the most beautiful, runnable, enjoyable races. For me, my conclusion was that I want that to be like my first 100-mile race. Like I've been to so many of your races and paced so many of his races, crewed so many of his races. So I'm not like, I haven't seen every race and I haven't raced these races, but yeah, the TRT 100. Highly recommend. It was incredible. I want to run that. I want to run that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was not happening this year, so then we had to do the 200 mile instead. But no, it's a beautiful trail over there. The key challenge that I was worried beside the injury was definitely altitude, because you go up to, I believe, 9,500 in terms of feet, so in meters for the one person in Poland. That's about 2,000 meters. So it's not crazy high, but it's high enough that you feel it. And we live at sea level, or I don't know, like 40 feet of elevation from here. And I went directly there, and I arrived Thursday evening. Friday morning was the start, and I was already feeling it at base camp. But at base camp it was kind of okay, but I knew it would be pretty bad. And that was actually the main issue. The other one that you hear a lot, and you'll see a lot of my videos, that there's I don't think anyone like knows the real reason, but it's called Tahoe lungs, and it's basically you'll be coughing and hissing and puffing, and maybe it's the altitude, maybe it's a lot of the dust, or maybe it's pollen, or combination of all of these things. But especially when you're racing for 4 days, then people get to be coughing like really hard, and that's really damaging. So one of the tips that they give is like you should have a buff and try to wet it a little bit, and when you're breathing is gonna help long term. It's super annoying. Like it's so freaking annoying to run with that all the time. When you have sunglasses and then like you breathe out of your mask, then it kind of fucks the sunglasses. So I was really annoyed and like kind of, I don't know, like angry all the time because of that. And when I had to talk to the camera, I had to remove it, although sometimes I forgot. And you talk with people, but they don't see that you're smiling and you look like you're about to rob a bank. So it was kind of weird, but on day 4, I was actually pretty happy with my decision to stick to that because I didn't have any long problem. I just had altitude problem. All right, so let's get going with the race. And if you don't know it, Tahoe is in California on a big ass lake that is Tahoe. And the race used to be you go all around that lake. Oh gosh, you go all around that lake, and that's a 200 miler. But because of forest fire, you can't do that anymore. So the format now is you go 30 miles one direction, like towards the south. Where's my hand? So towards the south, like that. Then you go back to the start, and then you go all around like for 70 miles. Then you come back. And the part that we had done together was around like the north part, so that's going to be more like the second or third day, and then the fourth day where we're in that area, which is gorgeous. But the whole place is pretty nice, and it's kind of not alpine forest, but it's forest that is not so dense. So you have these big ass trees, but you very often have a pretty good views, and the trail themselves are really smooth. Like I think that's one of the reasons why you liked it. It's
smooth single track.
Smooth single track. Like there's a little bit of rocks, but it's not like East Coast. And most of the climb, not all of the climb, but most of the climb, it's a gentle incline, which means like you can run the downhill, and that's totally fine. You don't feel like you're gonna die. So that was absolutely great. We had the national anthem by Phil Clark, and then let's move to, oh, where did I close it? That was dumb. I shouldn't have closed that. But
rookie.
There. Yeah, I shouldn't have closed that.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. You want to entertain him?
Say.
Why don't you sing?
Simon, the sound had a skip, and now it appears to be a slight delay between the sound and the live feed.
Oh,
We're
and
just having so many issues, friends.
So many issues.
We'll do it one at a time.
I know.
It's okay.
That's why, like, we have to have like a tech person working for us.
That's not gonna be me.
That's not gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah, give us some feedback if we're sounding better or not.
Yes, please.
If things are lining up or if they're not.
That should be working though. Yep, that is working.
All right. Is that working for folks?
Yeah, and actually we have the map. Wow, I did a good. Oh, well, we can't see it.
Can you?
Here.
Can you see the map?
Yeah. No, they can see the map. And actually, and you can. Oh no, you cannot see the mouse though. All right. So we start here, which is called Heavenly, and then we go south, as I mentioned. First aid station, second aid station, then we'll go back, then we'll go all around. And these aid stations are really far apart. Like that's something that if you've haven't done like destination trail race, it's like, I don't know, 15 miles, 20 miles, and when you're slow, like that's like a 10 hour between aid stations. So you start in the morning and you're there in the evening. It's kind of nuts. I'm not used to that, but that's fine. Like it mimics a little bit going on treks together would have been nice. But yeah, it's pretty good. And then you can see like the profiles, like you go up and down very often, but it's not crazy in terms of elevation gain and loss. It's mostly crazy. Well, not crazy, but it's mostly high altitude that is difficult, especially when you stay for a decently long segment around 9,000. A lot of people around me and definitely myself were struggling very much. All right, so let's get kicking with the footage. Do you see any question? Can you see your mouse?
No, can see. They can see your mouse.
Oh, you can see my mouse. Oh, yeah, yes.
And they were commenting things are good, and they said clap test. But I think you mean like, yeah, there's an audio thing that's giving me feedback.
Oh, clap test. Let's do more than one.
No, that was a bad one. Wait, why like?
Okay, let's you do it.
Okay.
All right.
Is it working?
Well, you can probably hear, but and actually you'll hear Nora better like that, I think. Maybe.
Like this?
Yeah, like this.
Like
yes.
this?
Yes.
Anyway. Did you see a lot of people with the same hat as you, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, I think outdoor research should really like give me some sponsorship or something, because I really see these hats more and more, And so many people ask me, what's your hat? I was like, well, it's a sun hat from Outdoor Research. By the way, that's the hat.
Half second delay.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry about that. I really don't know how we would change that. I think it's just the computer struggling because it's doing so many things in the background. But
maybe we need more equipment.
Maybe we need more equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean the good thing is that the weather was always good. I guess sometimes it was hot, but I would rather have that than the rain, which has been following me all the time this year. Like I'm getting annoyed by the rain and feeling cold and miserable. So that was nice, like not having to worry about it and just being able to just being able to like sleep on the ground and like not be wet. And if anything, like the only thing that was annoying with that was the mosquito, which we'll talk about. That's like the third day. What's up?
No, I'm just looking at I'm looking at your questions, Simon. You can just keep talking. It's so good.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
That makes sense, especially.
Yeah, I know, right, man? The hot in the office thing.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's skip me talking to the camera. Whoa. Let's skip way ahead. So the race starts and like you have like one of the big climb, but when you're starting a race, like you don't realize that you're climbing so much, but actually we were climbing a fair amount until we reached like really nice area where there was some snow. You can see the buff that I'm talking about before. Like now I actually forgot to remove it, so probably on the video in the movie it's gonna be me saying like so I should have been a little bit more careful. Hey, we had Québécois here. Yeah, we had a bunch of Québécois and Canadian. I don't know what's up with that, but that was really, really, really cool. Anyway, the race started great, but the first day I was so worried all the time because what happened at Cruel Jewel was I was feeling 100% good up until I would say 10 miles. And then like from like one step to the other, all of a sudden, bang, like it's painful. So I kept thinking like that might be the last step until I feel really bad. And I was trying to go slow, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. And just like trying to enjoy as far as I could go. And if I need to pull the plug, I'll pull the plug because that was such a mistake before. A question?
Yeah, question from Arcane Spells. How did you adjust your approach to this race given injury worries?
Did I adjust? I didn't really adjust anything in terms of my approach for it. I mean, the only difference is that I was really hoping coming in Tahoe that I would have 4 weeks between Cruel Jewel and Tahoe where I could train and prepare and like have my body come back from what was essentially like a really intensive period around Cocodona. You know, like it's Leona Divide, Canyons Ultra with an S apparently, Cocodona, and then Cruel Jewel. It's like, okay, like you don't get in better shape doing that. Like your body is slowly degrading and your fitness is slowly degrading because you're not training. So fine, I'll finally have a month to prepare. So my goal was to come in fit. But instead, like clearly the priority was, well, I should really try to come in not injured as much as possible. So I was doing 30-minute, 40-minute of PT twice every day. And as soon as I could walk and do these things, and I was adding that on top of that. And I also did a fair amount of sauna session. The biggest reason is that like they say to adapt to altitude without being there, it's heat training could help. I've never seen that, but I would rather do something than do nothing. So I was still doing the sauna just to do it. And that's actually footage from Mike, which is, I think, in the audience right now. So he was filming. He also filmed me falling down like a loser on the snow. That was really funny how I fell down super slowly. I think it's coming up very soon. But yeah, so the first climb was done, and then we're finally kind of having pretty cool views. And throughout the whole race, and that's what I really liked with Tahoe, is you almost always have a really nice view. Not 100% of the time, but very frequently you can just look to your right or your left, and then you have the lake, or you have something really nice. And that makes it a little bit more tolerable. And you can see also, like, right now we're on a trail. Oops, yeah. But there's really nothing on the trail other than, like, small gravel, which is...
Nice.
That's my... I wonder what he's saying right now. But, like, this is so buttery smooth. Like, this is trail running, but, like, I don't know, with like, training wheels, you know? Like, it's not like being, like, in Tour du Mont Blanc or the high mountain in Colorado where you think you're gonna die every step you're making. And yeah, that's the nice view that we had in the lake and everything. It was really, really cool. All right, let's keep rolling.
Yeah.
What's up?
You are the new Nora Cam. Yes, you are. Well done.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, well done.
I'm trying to find the footage. I hope I didn't miss it by accident of me.
But you're right. I do think that's one reason why I loved TRT was the like it's the smooth single track. It's like the smooth single track of your dreams. Like
Yeah.
it's so soft. It's unobstructed. It's not technical. It's not super steep ever. So it felt like it was just it was like butter. It was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
Not all the
absolutely.
whole time, but so much of it is so
Yeah.
perfect.
And it's still trail, like, but
Yeah.
exactly, like, it's not like trail, trail. It's like trail, trail. So it feels really rewarding, and even the ground itself is a little soft, so I feel it's a little lighter on my heel, which is an issue that I often have, and actually I had it pretty bad on this race where my just every step at some point my heel is so painful that it feels like it's bruised on the bone, and it's just raw and painful. But yeah, do we have a question?
Yeah, it's in French from Affluent Journeys. So did you eat poutine in the on the course?
No, I mean, I next time someone can bring me some, I'll definitely have. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna feel. That's one of the sad thing with, like, when you're racing these races, and that happened to you also. Is
Yeah.
you know the food that you like fries are always good and poutine is always good, and then like you're in the middle of the race and you have something like, I can't
It's
have
not
that right
good.
now, I'm gonna be sick. I was actually sick in that race. I felt nausea most of the time, and that's because of the altitude. And actually on the last night when we were close to being done, I started being so sick. It was absolutely gross and disgusting. So Stewart, which paced me, that's gonna be like for later. Yeah, I think he got the worst of me because I felt nausea for most of the time on the last stretch, and then eventually I was puking, and then just feeling like puking all the time, which was, oh yeah, that just happened. Oh my god, I gotta.
Simon never falls down. I always fall down. So
And I fell down so slowly, like it was so bad.
smooth.
It was embarrassing. I'm so glad you got it, Mike. I mean, this is the reality. It happens sometimes. The sad part though is that actually around like the fall itself and just being on the snow and trying to stabilize, that's the main time that I had pain on my injuries. I feel that stabilizing my ankle was the only remaining issue, and like the fall actually hurt because of that. And then other times when I was on snow and like trying to balance myself, and it was actually painful. So I got worried from that and onward for at least like 50 mile, like thinking like I still feel sore, a little something, so it's not 100%. But the snow was pretty treacherous because we're the end of the season, so it's packed pretty hard, but it's starting to melt, so it's super slippery, but you can't really dig your feet in there. And at night it was a little bit icy or a little harder, so you had to be careful where you were stepping, which really slowed us down. But I always like when there's some snow, it feels a little bit more epic, like it feels we're high in the mountain, and that's how it felt. And it's the only time that we had real amount of snow. We had a little bit later on the course, but that was the real time. And you can see we're getting pretty high. We're getting above tree line, which is pretty cool. I think that's where we're heading. I'm not 100% sure, but that was really, really cool. We have a question or
No.
no question? All right. I'll skip ahead a little bit because we're still making our way to the first aid station, believe it or not. But the whole race felt like that. That like we're always just like, wow, 3 aid station in, and like we're 2 days in. That was crazy, but absolutely gorgeous in the background all the time. But eventually we did make our way to the first aid station, and it's easy to feel strong after that amount of time. Actually, we're going there now. Yep, 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 yep. And I mean, first thing is thank you to all the volunteers. The race would not be possible without all of the people giving time for other people. I mean, that my way to do that, of course, is making tips video and sometimes volunteering, but we really appreciate all the help, both at the first day where we're still kind of mentally there, but also like in the last few days where we're just like, you're talking to me and like, I don't know, I'm not there. Really appreciate the help. And actually, it's funny to look at this now because I don't really remember being there during the day, but I remember coming back on the way back, and I was already getting my ass kicked pretty bad, and that's still technically pretty early in the race. So yeah, but the first day for anyone who's planning to race it, the first day or the first 60 mile, a little more, you actually cannot have your crew or anyone. The first time you can see your crew is, so now we went all the way to what was called Armstrong, and then we go to Housewife, then we come back to Armstrong, and then we come back to the start finish line, which sounds like not so many aid stations, like just 4 segment, but that's easily 24 hours, 30 hours, and you're by yourself all that time. So you have to know that, like you have to know that you have to push pretty hard by yourself at first before you can have some significant help. Of course, I knew that I wouldn't get help, but of course, there's so many people here that are always happy to help. That, like I say, I'm never truly alone, but sometimes like I'm with my wife, which is great, but not this time. Not this time. So yeah, we start going back, and it's interesting how in these races, like 200 miler, in 100-mile, I feel that you're less likely to spend as much time with the same people. Like, of course, you will eventually kind of find your group of people, but for the 200-mile, like the first day, it's not necessarily that day, but starting second day and onward, or even like the first night and onward, like I can see from the footage, like, oh, it's the people that like I ended up spending 90% of my time of the race, because we kind of have matching pace, and then we just like leapfrog all the time. Sometimes I'm doing good or doing well, and then I pass them, and sometimes I'm just like sleeping on the side of the trail, and then they pass me. So that makes these adventures really cool, because you get really close to people around you, especially when you're solo and you don't have anyone in the world. Like, you feel like you're all by yourself. You're never truly by yourself. So yeah.
How was the food at the aid station, actually?
The food was good. They had, I can't remember what was the brand, the Never Second. Does anyone that was there, do you remember like what was the name of it's not Tailwind and it's not Goo, it's
not Knock?
No, it's not Knock. It's a good guess, but it was not Knock. I can't remember. It's one that I had never seen before.
Never Second.
Never Second, yeah. So, and I think I liked it. How did you guys feel about Never Second? I had never had it before. I didn't like so much the drink. It was like, I think they diluted a little bit too much. The bars were okay, actually. At first, the first time I was forced to take the bars, I was like, crap, like I need some food, and there's only that I can bring. But in the end, I actually liked the bar. The gel was very liquidy. That was okay, but I prefer when it's a little bit more in a gel form. But yeah, the bars were a pleasant surprise for me, a really pleasant surprise. But yeah, you take what you can at the aid station, and sometimes you just don't have choice. But what I liked is, I think every aid station had some kind of warm cooked food, burger or anything like that. In the end, what has worked best for me, and that's not quite yet, it's more on the second day or even the third day, but it was quesadilla, and then asking for like, do you guys have guacamole? And I'm sorry, like some people will feel sick if you're American, but if you're from Belgium, it's okay. But it was guac and mayonnaise with the quesadilla, and I would just go in very easily. It's okay.
Gross.
It's okay.
Guacamole is great.
Yeah, guacamole and mayonnaise is actually a weird mix, but it worked really well. Like, yeah, I would, especially the aid station where I could sleep, I would say like, hey, like bring me a plate full of quesadilla and a bunch of guac and like some mayo like package. And then I would just like, and then I would sleep a little bit. And then when I would wake up, I would grab a little bit more. So that was good. So yeah, the food was totally fine. Or not more than fine. Like I think it was really good. I think it was a good choice.
Yeah, looks like Mike liked it too. The pizza and burgers.
Where was there pizza? Oh yeah, there was pizza at the Village Green. I think it was funny the way that mine was cooked. Like every time I would take a slice of the pizza, like all of the cheese would fall in the plate. So then I just had like a very sad like tomato pizza, and then I would eat it, and then at the end I just grab all the cheese and I just like but I think that was more my way of eating the pizza that was wrong. Yeah. You have something?
No, but someone said a mean dog en français. Un chien méchant.
Oh, where was there a bad dog?
A mean dog?
There was no bad.
Do you see how I'm practicing my French and reading
yeah?
your comments?
Yeah, she was good. She was good. She didn't even use Google Translate.
I did not. I am learning, so I know. Yeah. Did you eat the poutine, and is there a mean dog?
That's working really well.
That's my extent. I can do that. No problem.
Well, you're learning. That's good. That's difficult. I don't speak.
You don't speak what? You speak it. What?
There's a lot of, I don't speak Swedish, and I was there for a while. I mean, I understood a little bit at some point, but then it's gone. Don't test me. And same thing with German, like Swiss German when I was in Switzerland. I really tried. Like, that's really sad. Like, I really tried, went to class. And the problem, especially with Swedish, is that I'm good at exams, so I would pass the exam without really understanding what's going on, and then just get to the next level, up until I was at the level where the teacher was talking way too fast for me to understand anything of what was going on. I was like, all right, I I gotta focus on my PhD right now, so unfortunately that kind of all went away now. But
You speak English and French well.
I yeah, I mean, well enough. I mean, I'm not great actually at either, but yeah. Anyway, oh come on,
I love you.
I love you too. Let's move a little bit forward.
Yeah.
I was still feeling good, like going into this one, and like I know it sounds like we're talking a lot for just getting to the second aid station, but that's the feeling of the race. Like we're just going to the second aid station, but by the time we're there, like we've done a lot, and the everyone had long face by the time we were at that second aid station. We had some nice views, but yeah.
Well, no, I don't want to interrupt your thought. Keep going. Your nice views.
Yeah, we had nice views, but
Oh, is she at? She looks familiar. No, never mind. Just the hat looked familiar for a second, like from your eye.
I wouldn't know.
She gave
Oh, we have some jorts. That's
awesome shorts.
of course that's Andrew Glaze right now in disguise. No, actually, I think this guy was from Chile. And I think he spoke mostly Spanish. So he struggled with like interacting with other people, which I think is really brave. Like that really made me think of, and maybe I'm wrong and that he understood everything I said, but I felt like when I was speaking to him, he was struggling a little bit. And that really reminded me when I was in Japan and I raced Fuji, and like aid station volunteer would all smile and they're like, they would point me at stuff and say something and like point at that and smile. And I was like, I have no clue what you're saying right now. Like they might be saying like, this is a tailwind that will give you diarrhea. So maybe this one would be better for you. And I was like, yes, very good, very good. And then I would just pick whichever, and then I had diarrhea. So maybe that was the problem. But
okay, I want to say, so it looks really sunny this whole time and a little bit exposed. Are you overheated? How are you feeling temperature wise? And you're also covered so much, so I don't know how you're feeling.
Yeah, I was sweating a lot, and it was not crazy hot, but I think at altitude it's very easy to get dehydrated. I mean, that's definitely a tip for people. If you go at altitude, you don't realize just how much you're getting dehydrated because of the altitude. I mean, if you haven't tried, you should try to cook pasta at high altitude, and it's really hard because the water is boiling at lower temperature, so then like it's gone, but like it's not hot enough, and it feels a little bit like that. Like you start sweating, you try to cool down, it goes away and you feel dry and you don't feel so hot, but it was actually pretty hot. And I think if you're not keeping up on nutrition for sure, but like fluids and salt, you're gonna really struggle. So I was making a point to drink a lot. I had on myself, so in terms of gear actually, so I had what's the name of it? The Ziga 6 for the pack, and they have big pockets for the soft flask, so you go 800 ml twice instead of 500 ml, which sounds like a small difference, but it's a huge difference. 1.6 liter instead of 1, and then I had two 500 ml flask on my back, so that was 1 more liter, so 2.6 liter that I drank most of it between aid station. And at aid station I was drinking a bunch of Coke, I was burping a lot, and then just like chugging water to stay on top of hydration, because if you fall behind, that can be pretty difficult.
You have another question. So from Affluent Journeys, are you brushing a lot or taking mouthwash?
So for this one, I really plan poorly. But what I do first of all is I bring dental floss with me. So before the race, like I have my little plastic pharmacy that I carry on me, and you can actually see it. It's on the right side here. Well, I guess it's hidden a little bit, but there's a bunch of stuff in there, and like that's Imodium, toilet paper, squirrel nut butter. And then the other one is some floss. So I have like 5 string of floss that I put in there. Then when I need it every 24 hours, I just floss. And then I try, but I forgot for most of the thing to have something to brush. Like sometimes just a toothbrush, and I'll do with my finger. Sometimes there will be like a analog toothbrush, like old school toothbrush, like the electric one, but like a normal one. But I don't have like 5 of them, so then sometimes I just don't have anything, and I didn't plan really smartly there. So I think it's the first 2 days I didn't brush at all, which isn't great because then you can get mouth sore, which is definitely a thing for 200. If you haven't done 200 and you're planning, like good mouth hygiene will serve you well, because you eat so much sugar that the proliferation of bacteria happen, and then you have mouth sore, and it's painful and it's annoying. But I didn't do a good job on that one actually.
But I say typically he does. Like typically, like when I'm with him and I can help crew and or pace, then like like one of the things I remember to do is to bring like an electric toothbrush for him and toothpaste, because that feels usually not mouthwash during a race. Usually toothbrush and toothpaste just feels so much better. But yeah, the person who asked this question said they got cavities from the gels, so they understand the issues with sugar. Yeah. No, it's you're right. There's the mouth sores, there's cavities. Yeah, and you'll feel more refreshed.
Oh, for sure. Like it feels good. You feel like you're human again. Like the best feeling. I mean, there's definitely that, but I did that especially for Tour des Géants. When I go to a live base and they have shower, it's I'll floss, I'll brush, I'll take my shower, then I go in, then I eat something, then I go in bed, and then you wake up and you feel like, oh, like I'm a human being again. Like I'm not just like a bubble of pain and misery and cold and shivering. Like it's like, oh, like I feel good and this is fun again. And
you're not a pile of shit.
Yeah, like it feels really, really positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had the aid station there, and I already at aid station 2, I was like, I gotta sit down, I gotta really take my time because I was feeling pretty bad. But I want to turn around and make as much progress as possible in daytime. So nighttime is gonna come pretty soon. And every hour, every mile that you can do in daytime, like it's good mileage. So I refocus on that, doing the climb as soon as possible and flipping things around. But yeah, your second aid station, you're already feeling like I don't really want to go. And the only thing and like I feel like I'm cruel when I say that, but the only thing that helped me sometimes in these situations where I'm like, wow, we just started the race and I'm feeling like crap, is looking around at people and being like, I feel like crap, but everyone else does. So like, it's okay. Like it's not out of control. Like it's fine. And it's normal. And also like, I felt good feeling tired. That's one of the things I think I told you like 1,000 times before coming into races. One of the training run I did was a 20 miler with maybe, I can't remember, 2,000, 3,000 feet. And like, I came back and was like, hey, like, I have pain in my knee. Like, that's great. Like, I have pain somewhere else than my injury, which means like my injury is good enough that like all of my other problems are coming right now. And it felt a little bit like that coming in that aid station, feeling tired and out of energy. I was like, I'm not complaining about my ankle right now. I'm worried about my ankle still, but I'm just so tired and low on energy and dehydrated. And it's like, good. Like my ankle is holding up pretty normal. Different pain. Yeah. Different pain means that my ankle is good enough. By the way, it's not 100% even today, my ankle. Like I feel it, it's stiff and it's just not great, but it's not painful. It's just, it's not limiting me, but it doesn't feel normal quite yet.
So Astro Lizard asks, do you bring charger blocks to keep electronics charged or multiple watches?
So only one watch this time. So I've had several watch, but every time I do that, it's more to test them head to head, like for the channel. A watch like the one I have right now, like the Vertex 2S from Coros, if you have the right setting, it's gonna last the whole time. And I was gonna say like it's still from the same charge from the race, but that's not true. I charged it today, but today was maybe like at 25%, and that's from like all of the race plus all of the week, and that's totally fine. But I do bring power banks when I'm by myself, and with cables. Like that's the thing that like it's easy to forget that you need like a bunch of stupid cables. Like I need my iPhone cable, I need my watch cable, I need my USB-C cable for my headlamps, because you don't know what's going to be out of battery. But the way I try to do it is, so, and also remember, I do have to film. Well, I don't have to, but I try to film. So I also have to think about the batteries for my camera, and I will throw extra batteries for the camera, which are decently annoyingly expensive, in all of my drop bag. Then I'll have an extra headlamp battery in all of my drop bag, including an extra headlamp if I can in some of them. For the watch, I have the cable. Usually I will try to put it like around day 3. If I see for whatever reason that like the watch won't make it, then I'll charge it at day 3. But otherwise, like then you can kind of see the drain of the watch enough to know if it's going to finish or not the race. And some race will have plugs, like wall plugs. So you could have like a normal like in the wall. But this one, it had it at, what's the name? The Finnish Evan Lee had it. I don't know the other ones. I didn't check for the other ones, but I know that Destination Trail doesn't. Oh, this guy is so beautiful. Oh wow, that's really cool.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we had really nice sunset and sunrise. Sometimes like you're not at the right place to take the right footage, but you see it with your eyes. But in this case, like that was actually really gorgeous. Um, but Destination Trail doesn't have them so often because it's a little bit wilder than some other race. If we compare like to Cocodona, like Whiskey Row, for example, is a major life base where you have wall plugs. Fort Tuttle definitely has some. Like there's a few places that like you have the sleep station and it's inside, therefore you have a way to plug it in the wall. But it's best to not rely on that because you don't know how many people will be there at the same time as you, and you might just not have like outlet to plug it. But yeah.
Was that you're talking about the aid station differences? I'm wondering if you can speak to were there designated sleep areas in this race as well?
Yeah, there weren't so many places to sleep. I think that's one of the things that like if Candice is listening, don't listen anymore, please. But yeah, I don't think the sleep station were great. I think you had a huge advantage if you had a crew that had a car that you could sleep in. As opposed like to the polar opposite for me would be Tour des Géants, where you had a lot of major live base where it's kind of okay to sleep, but even better you have the refuge on the mountain where you have 4 beds, and if you're there in time, like you're gonna have a bed and you're gonna sleep so well. This was not really the case. That's nothing against even the race or definitely not the volunteer, but the setup was not always great and it was a little bit cold at night. So the main sleep station were the start finish at Heavenly, so mile 0, but you're not gonna sleep at mile 0, right? But mile 60 you could sleep, and I think you could sleep inside. I didn't go inside because it was middle of the day for me, or the beginning of the day. And then you had Village Green, which is mile, if someone knows what was the mileage of Village Green, please let me know. But it was basically, I guess, 110 and 150 or 160, something like that. No, I'm mixing up. No, it was not Village Green. It was Brokeway. Brokeway was maybe 120 and 150 approximately. And it was tense, and you had cots, and at least you were not on the ground, but it was decently cold. And I was a little cold trying to sleep there, but I was able to sleep. But when you wake up, you're a little bit tense because probably you were shivering a little bit at night. So not ideal. It was not sleeping inside, but I think that's part of like roughing it up a little bit. But yeah, if we could have like place to sleep inside, that would be even better.
Yeah, so it's not bad. It's just room for improvement, is how we can say it.
Yeah, I think it's room for. It depends what's like the goal of the race, but there's definitely a difference. Like if I compare to the setup that we had when Nora was there at Cocodona, like in the car with the mattress and the big blanket, like that was like
perfect.
That's as good as like I would sleep in our house, as opposed to that where I was not as comfortable. So if she had been there with the car, that would have been way better than what we had. And then on top of that, then you can really choose where you're gonna sleep. But people were really quick to try and help us at Village Green. Like I confused it because at Village Green, I tried to sleep there. There was not necessarily a sleep station, but there were a couple of cots, and the volunteers brought blankets and everything. So they really tried to help you sleep. But the setup was such that like basically we were next to the fireplace, but also where the lady taking care of foot care was there. So like you had a lot of noise. You can't really sleep for 1 or 2 hours. You can just kind of rest. But appreciate that the people were making that happen anyway. So yeah.
All right. So you have a question from Affluent Journey. Is that I don't want to butcher anyone's name, but it's.
I don't understand the question. So Jacques Rougeau ou Dino Bravo? That's reference that I don't get. I'm really sorry. You'll have to explain Affluent Journey Jacques Rougeau or Dino Bravo. Is a reference I absolutely don't get. So maybe I'm too young or too old. Sorry about that. Just to comment on like what's going on right now, like we're the night and we're going through the snow field, and I was going pretty slow, but I was able to catch up with Andrea Morse, not sure, but like she's done like all of the 200 a bajillion time, and she's doing I think they call it the Grand Slam, which was pretty cool. So the Monster 300, Cocodona I think she's done, and she's gonna do the Triple Crown also. So that was pretty cool. And we were together on those that were there. There was like a little river, like it's not a river. What's smaller than a river?
A stream.
And then you had to kind of go down, and that was kind of that's gonna bing bing. That was kind of shitty, but that was tough. And like we were all together with the guy that I'm sorry was not. I don't know the name of the guy, but that was really cool that we were together because it was like just a little slippery and gross and not fun, but we did it together. There's a question.
Yeah, there's a couple. So the next one's from Arcane Spells. What's the strong suit of this race compared to other races? Parentheses, or your favorite thing about this race, and what do you wish was better?
So what I like about this race for sure is the trail around Tahoe. And I think it would be so much better if it was just like the normal course, which you just go all the way around. Like that makes it really cool. And I feel that a big loop is my favorite format of all format. It's the best combination of it's practical because your car or whichever way you came like can be at the start, which is the same as the freaking finish, but also you're never repeating anything and you're not going back and forth. So that's a great feeling. That was not the case for this one. Like it's in and out, in and out. But the trail itself is absolutely gorgeous and the views is absolutely amazing. And yeah, I think the trail is just a very special place, which is a little bit why you like the Tahoe Rim Trail, which is a good place to do it. Things to improve. I don't know that it's things to improve. Like I think that's the style of destination trail, but you're a little bit left not to yourself, but it's like, hey, like you're a freaking grown up. Like take care of yourself a little bit. It's like you have an aid station in 19 miles. Like fuck off. Like that's not how they say it, but like that's how it feels sometimes. Like, oh, I'm too tired. Like I want an aid station in like 10 miles. And
so it's a little more rugged.
It's a little bit more rugged. You need to be a little bit more independent and not self-support, but like you need to be able to take care of yourself for a longer period of time, and you need to accept the fact that you're going to sleep on the side of the trail, because sometimes when sleepiness comes, like you don't have an aid station in 3 miles, which is very different when I compare it to Tour des Géants, which is my favorite race, where you have an aid station really often, but it's really rugged. But yeah, you have an aid station in 5 kilometers. So because it's in Europe, so I don't know what's 3 miles. So that's a little bit different, but yeah, I really like the experience, regardless, for sure, but not regardless, but I really like the experience because I'm used to these things. I come more from a background of hiking, so having 20 miles by yourself is what I'm kind of used to. But it is tiring. Like it's daunting to think. Like the last day when I had Stuart, and we're gonna get to that later. When I had Stuart with me, it's like, hey, like we only have like 2 segments to do together, but we're gonna be together like 24 hours, like for just one aid station. Like it's kind of crazy when you think about it, but yeah, that's life.
Next question from, I think this is from Mike. Is that Mike who this is? Mike and Michelle.
Yeah.
How much did you sleep?
About 350. I don't know. So the thing is, it's hard to count all of the amount of sleep for trail nap, because when I usually trail nap, it's because I'm starting to just doze off and I'm like not mentally all there, so I can't really keep track of like I slept 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but I have a lot of 5-minute nap every night. I don't know how many, but like quite a few. Sleep wise though, like real proper sleep, I did it at I tried 30 minutes at Village Green, so that was around 48 hours. Brokeway I slept probably 1.5 hours, and then on the way back I slept at Brokeway again for probably 2 hours, and then that was it, like for proper sleep. Everything else was trail nap, which usually I favor sleeping longer than that, but I felt there were no real good opportunity for real good sleep, so instead it was we're in my pocket apparently.
What was like your longest stretch of sleep?
Yeah, so it's probably Brokeway the second time, which was probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. One of the things that like apparently I am not impressed, but like I worry people at the aid station, is that when I sleep, that's what I meant with Andrea. Like that was just a little like annoying a little bit to go down, but we did it and we survived. When I go to sleep at aid station, unless there would be a cutoff like right behind me, where's the camera? Like right behind me. Otherwise, I just come in. I was like, I'm gonna sleep until I feel like I've slept enough, and I'm not worried that I'm gonna sleep for 10 hours. I know that I'm gonna wake up a bunch of time, and that I will be mentally there enough to look at the time and say, okay, gotta go now. But very often, what happens is I look at the time. It's like, okay, like I'll take like 30 more minutes, and then maybe I take more than 30 minutes and I sleep for an hour instead of 30 minutes. But for me, that's just a sign that my body needed that. And as long as I have the presence of mind to say like, okay, fuck it, like let's just, now we gotta go. Like I've slept enough. Of course, it would feel better to sleep longer, but like we gotta go. I had enough. I would rather do that and not have the worry of when is like the volunteer coming to wake me up. So I almost never let anyone know how much it's gonna take. Of course, it's probably annoying like if you're pacing me because I'm like, hey, I'm gonna wake up at some time and then we gotta go. But usually I'm solo when I do that. So yeah,
It's okay.
that'll never happen with you.
Never with me. The Affluent Journeys person also followed up and said that it's c'est la lutte to the 90s. I don't know.
Oh, wrestling in the 90s? Yeah, I definitely wouldn't know. I'm born 86 in Virgin. I'm really sorry.
All right. Now the new question just came in. Ready. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, you're the one who was closer to that, right? When are you ready for your first ultra?
How do you know when you're ready to do an ultra? Well, I know. So one, not to pitch these things, but Simon has a few videos about like, there's one that's specifically that's like, are you ready to do X, Y, and Z kind of race? Do you remember that's like the 50K? Yeah. So he has one video that's sort of speaking to like, here are the various challenges you're going to have to approach. So to prepare for those and then you're ready basically. From my perspective, I knew I was ready when I didn't. I never knew I was ready. You just do it. You do the training. Like you look up what you have to do. And I sort of trusted my training, but I think in every ultra I've done, I don't know 100% if I can do it. I think the times I actually knew I could do it, okay, this is going to be a stupid answer. The time I knew I could do it is when I'd already done it once before. That's when I knew, like after I did Javelina 100K, or not when I DNF'd Javelina at 80 miles or something, the 100 mile, I knew that I could do the distance because I had done it. So for Black Canyon 100K, I was like, oh, I know I can, like, I feel ready to do it. But I think readiness is, I don't know, it's not simple. I feel like I make sure you look up training, do the training, trust the training, get excited about it, and be prepared as much as you can. But I don't think I ever felt fully ready. I just really wanted to do it. It just felt so exciting. I didn't want to miss out on it. And that was enough drive to make me ready. That was a bad answer, but they're really asking you, when were you ready?
No, there's no bad oh, that's sorry, I gotta comment on that. That's Patrick. Oh man, I'm blanking on his family name. That's terrible. Anyway, he's a really good guy and he's really involved in Destination Trail, and he prepares these cards also where like you have your name and your number, and then there's
Cute.
you saw the card, right?
Yeah.
But now he sent me that, and it was saying like drop bag 107, which was my number. Like, oh, where's your drop bag? And then the bear was eating all the crap. So that I don't know. I think that's,
he's eating your food.
it's silly, but it's so funny. Like I love that. It's I know it's, maybe I'm childish, but I think it was great when he sent me that. I think when you're ready, there's two types of people. You have anxious people and you have people that are overconfident. And there's definitely a gender thing. Sometimes like guys tend to be a little bit more like, oh, of course I can do that. It sounds really easy. Oh, wow, you're just walking for 200 miles. I can definitely walk all that time. And then you realize that like you're really, like it's way harder than you think. And then you have people like Nora, which are like, I'm not prepared, I'm not ready. Like it looks way too hard. It's for pro athletes or something. And it's hard to know which one you are. Like, are you overconfident and underestimating the challenge, or underconfident and like really you're ready and you don't even realize? But I think it's normal to come in not thinking you can do it. And people ask sometimes like, what's the one thing you wish you knew before you ran your first ultra? Like for me, it's like I wish I knew I could do it. It's that simple, because once you know, like you said, that, then you know you can do it. And then every challenge, like you realize like, yeah, it is really difficult. Like I'm really struggling, but I know I can overcome that. This race, like at this time, like we're only at mile 62, and I'm struggling. I'm really struggling. It's really difficult. I struggle with the uphill. I'm out of breath immediately, and it would be easy to think I cannot do it if I didn't know already that I can do it. So what I would say is, yeah, like do some training, go for it, and then you'll know. Maybe you were not ready, but most likely you were. And the tips that I gave myself online, like when I say, oh, you should probably run like 60 mile a week. If you can do 60 mile a week, you can definitely do 100 mile. I'm definitely on the conservative side, where like you can definitely do it with less training than what I recommend. It's just that the lower the training, the higher the risk of failure. But even with more training, you can still fail. And that like the balance of like more training reduce your risk of failure, but how long do you want to train? Like, do you want to train for 10 years? I think that's ridiculous. So it's kind of gauging for the numbers I'm giving will give you a good sign for
And
that.
I think you're also speaking to a good point. Like, I think I was preparing for like a year before I did my first. Like, I started like just starting running again, then did trail. Had already loved hiking. Like, how much time did it really take? Like 6 months to a year, honestly, before, because my original plan was to learn trail, do my first marathon, and then see what happens, and then like maybe do an ultra. But that was 2020, so I've never done a marathon, never done one. Only a training marathon,
A road marathon.
a road marathon. But I've never done a race that's a marathon, ever.
Yeah, I've only done 2, and I'm not Boston qualified, and I'll never qualify
Never
for
qualify
Boston.
for Boston.
No, that's never gonna happen
Never
for me.
gonna
I think
happen.
my best is like a 3:25,
But
a little bit faster than that maybe, but you don't have to be fast, and you don't have to have crazy like fitness to do these things. Like, smaller things become more important. Like, well, it's smaller, or it's like, it's not just about fitness. It's like taking care of your feet and being able to fuel properly and being able to space smartly become more important than being ultra fit. And then at some point, it's never 100% just in your head, because I mean, you're at altitude like I am right now and struggling. It's not in your head. Like, you're definitely struggling, but if you have this mental resilience, then you will be able to overcome that, and that matters a lot.
yeah, approach it like a big adventure, and that's it.
Yeah.
Approach it like a big adventure, because yeah, it's like, this isn't a hard thing you can do with just adrenaline. This isn't a hard thing you can just do with just like tough, like, just, it's a big adventure. It takes a long time. Whatever the ultra distance is, it's a long time. Yeah. So, but I did see that someone, Simon, your video is really helpful. Helped me do. They're about to do their first 5K, and then Cocodona eventually. Go Astro Lizard. You got it.
Yeah,
that's
let's
the biggest
go.
thing. Like,
yeah,
in terms of readiness, like, more people. That's the biggest thing I've learned from Simon and the ultra running community is more people can do this than you think. This is so much more possible and accessible than you think. It sounds so extreme and sounds like really inaccessible and not for you. And I want to be thoughtful about folks being able-bodied and what that means, but this is much more accessible than you think.
Yeah. Like, and there's definitely a range of challenge when it comes to races. And I'm going to publish a video like maybe tomorrow or the day after about like the top 10 like toughest race. But there's definitely races that are more accessible than other. And like, it's about looking like, what's the cutoff? And as long as you have the mindset of like, well, I'm not giving up, as long as they're not pulling me out. When you have a very broad cutoff, and like one that comes to mind, like it's Sedona 125, like sure, it's even longer than 100 mile, but 75 hours for 125, like in that course, that's very generous. Like, you can go and sleep and take care of your time. Things are not going well, you can take your time, as long as you have like this, like, I'm not quitting mentality. That's really gonna help. Whereas like some other races that are a little bit more high tempo, I think that's difficult because you can't waste your time like wondering like, oh, what should I do and can I sleep? So finding the right race also matters a lot in terms of picking the first one. I'm gonna eventually publish like what's the good, like, unfortunately I know 100 miler better than like shorter distances, but like, what's a good first 100 miler that you won't feel stressed all the time. By the way, right now we're already past like the 60-mile mark. I did it in about 24 hours. I was pretty happy with that. And like with Tahoe, the cutoff that they say you got to be careful is the first 100K, like getting back to Heavenly. It was hard to do that. You were at high altitude for a fair amount of time, a fair amount of climbing. You had the snow, you have that crap. And that's where a lot of people get kind of cut off. And I was trying to go fast, well, relatively fast for the first 100K. And I also felt if I can do the 100K, then I'm kind of committing myself to finishing the race, even if my injury gets worse. So that was my mindset. If I start getting worse, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to finish, and then I have until Bigfoot in a month and a half to get better. So I was really happy to reach that point. But also what's interesting, we're second day already. We're feeling like crap, but it starts being really pretty. Those two segments, so the segment from Heavenly to Spooner, and from Spooner to Village Green, in my mind, like this is the most beautiful part of that course. You have beautiful view of the lake, and a lot of the pictures that you will see from the course or the race are actually from these segments, because I mean, you see it a little bit. And I'm filming with my stupid GoPro. Like, the GoPro is terrible at taking, well, that's actually probably from my phone because it looks better, but the GoPro is terrible at capturing the beauty of a landscape because of the angle of the camera. Sorry if I'm technical, but it's just so gorgeous, right? Like these very lush forests. And actually that's part of the course, I think, maybe not. No, that's not part of the course, but it could have been part of the course for the Tahoe Rim Trail. Just these really gorgeous views, and I don't know. It's the best for sure. You should come next time.
I know. Well, that you're speaking to the question that just popped up in the chat, which is Tahoe Rim 100 as good as Tahoe 200? Which comes from Tony.
That's a good question. I think Tahoe Rim Trail 100 was one of my favorite race of all time. Like combination all across the board of the ratio of like really cool segment to the distance itself and the amount of time that you're spending. The buckle itself, that's pretty far, but the buckle for the 100, did you see it?
I can find it.
Yeah, the buckle I think for the Tahoe Rim. I know it's stupid, guys, but it's there. Like you can see it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's one of the best buckle of like my collection. You can get the 200 mile over there. It's like that's the buckle. I think that's just really. Oops. I think that's a cool buckle. Okay, and it looks a little generic, honestly. Like.
It's also nice.
Exactly. Like I don't want to be a
different.
dick, but like
Just
if I had to pick one, I would pick this one, right? But you don't do it for the buckle, of course. Oh yeah.
I can put it back. Yeah.
But it's little things like that. I think the aid station ratio also for the TRT 100 was actually like spot on. I really felt like, wow, I would really want an aid station now. I'm like, pop, there's an aid station. Awesome. Like that's great. The only thing that I didn't like with Tahoe Rim Trail is going from and to Carlson City, which is where the race starts, which is kind of in the valley. It's not about Carlson City or the people there, of course, but you're getting more in the valley where it's hot and so fucking bad. Oh, I shouldn't say that F word, but so freaking bad. I mean, you were there with me when we finished the race, right? I was complaining a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
I was complaining a little bit. Like, it's this trail going down towards Carlson City. For anyone who's done it, like, it's a mountain biking trail, and they have super big, like, how do you call these, switchback, that you're like, can I just go directly? Like the finish is like 1 mile away, but we still have like 5 miles of going like this all the time. It's just so bad. And it was probably 100 degree, and like I was just like, this sucks.
Yeah, I think in that video I made, like, I thought I was so funny, but I made a comment of like, look, Simon, another switchback.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
I mean, just like so many.
It's super insulting. These switchback, okay, because it's for mountain biking. Sometimes even when the corner comes, like it even like goes up a little, like you're going downhill because you're going back. So it goes downhill, 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 and then the corner comes, and then it goes up a little bit, so that when they take that corner, like they don't like just fly off, like it slows them down, and it's like, no, I'm going downhill. Don't make me go uphill. Like this is, I hated it. But otherwise,
everything else was amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and again, like Nora wants to do it maybe as her first 100.
Yeah.
So out of like the whatever, like 45 different ones I've done, so that's a good sign that like itself is a good race, and that has nothing to do with Tahoe 200. Like Tahoe 200 was really good. Then I need more 200 experience to actually judge. I feel, and I'm gonna know very soon, I feel that of the destination trail races, the Bigfoot 200 will be my favorite. That's my impression from like not having done them, but I think that the course for the 200 at Bigfoot will be more exciting for me, but we'll see very soon.
Yeah, I think JB is in the chat. Hey JB. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, JB, we were together at Yosemite last year.
Yeah, and you were at the aid station just before that really hard stretch.
yes,
so
when
thanks,
we were
man.
feeling like really, really, really bad. All right, I'm gonna entertain them. I'm gonna try and pick up the
All right, I also want to say congratulations to Ingrid for like, doing your first, the Eldon Crest. Then DNFing at Sedona. I've DNF'd my first 100. DNFs happen. It happens. Yes. But well done. Good luck to you trying it the next year. This is, at 70. That's awesome. This is a more accessible sport than people think.
And we want to make it accessible.
Yeah, we want to. We want everyone. It's really fun. We want everyone to enjoy it. Join the cult. Just kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, have you done the divide, Simon?
No. I don't know who's asking that. Who's asking that?
I'm sorry, I'm saying this wrong. Ojibwe runner. I see you out there. Have you done the divide? If
No.
not, is it on the list?
So it's funny. The reason I'm asking is the person that paced me last minute, which by the way, the pacer Stuart was amazing. I don't think he's in the chat, but that's cool. But he paced me, and I was the third runner he was pacing of the adventure for 40 miles apiece. So when we were done together, he had done 120 mile of pacing, which is really cool. And he was telling me his favorite race, and one was the Wyoming range, but the other one was the Divide 200. So no, I have not done Divide 200. I haven't done so many 200 miler. Like I've done Cocodona, Tour des Géants, and now Tahoe. Like that's it.
3 races.
Is it like this or like this?
This?
I haven't watched Inglourious Bastard in a while, so I can't remember which one I'm supposed to do. But I'm not German, guys. Now you know.
Well, if you're American, yeah, you do this. What was the other way? This?
I think this means something else.
Anyway. Anyway.
But yeah, so but the Divide 200, he said it's a great race. But talking to him a little bit, like it sounds like it's a very challenging one. And I think I've seen the video from West Plate, great guy, great channel, and he struggled. I think he DNF'd at the Divide. It seems so technical and so rugged. I might do it someday, but I feel I need more experience with 200 miler. And probably that would be a race that if I try, I would want to have a little bit of an actual training cycle leading up to it and not just say like, whatever, like I'm fine, I can do it. I think it's a tight one where you got to be in good shape, but you also have to be not reckless, but you got to be comfortable attacking those trails even when it's really technical and very gnarly. But it looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's in someone's backyard. It's in Mike's backyard, so that's cool. And also, sorry, JB and Star, that we missed you. Simon was too fast on the course to see you on the course, but that would have been so cool. I hope you both are doing well.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought you guys were not. I thought you were not there actually, because I think I emailed Star or messaged Star. But okay, cool. Well, I mean, we'll see each other soon enough. I'm sure we're gonna be back at TRT 100 for
me,
for Nora. Yeah. I mean, for sure. Yeah. All right.
Oh, have you run Speed Goat? What are your thoughts? Oh, I feel like I know someone who's running it. You haven't done Speed Goat though?
No, this is the best part of the course. No, I've not done Speed Goat. What are my thoughts? I don't know. I don't know much about it.
Is it UTMB race?
It might be. I mean, it looks like it's getting pretty big. You know, I mean, it was all over the place, right? Like. Yeah,
I feel like I saw stuff for it.
Yeah, I mean, you hear about it a lot. Like it's getting very, very competitive. Very, I don't know, upper class elite runner. Which. But you don't invite me when it's like that.
Massimo.
I don't have an invitation for Western State this year.
But aren't our friends in the Run Club? Aren't they doing it?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it could be.
They're not elite.
No, I know.
They're just really good.
I know.
Or these are
look
beautiful.
at this. Yeah, and this is definitely part of the TRT kind of like trail and views. Like that's the experience that you have. Like look at that, guys. I mean, it's so cool.
It's beautiful.
You have the baby lake and the big lake, and it's just it's amazing.
All
it feels much better in that direction when we're coming back and you're at mile like on your watch mile 195 and it's like this is crap. Like I'm anyway. I don't know what happened to her, but I think she was injured, so I hope she was able to finish and she's not injured too bad. Something that's interesting, and you might notice a lot of these trees, like the lichen on it, like it's stripes on it. Sometimes it's the whole tree, sometimes it's just like lines, and it's just really I don't know.
Does
it's really special.
Does anyone know why it's like that in the chat? Why there's the that pattern of lichen or the pattern of moss on the trees?
Yeah, I would be really curious to hear that.
I remember when we were on the trails and we were at Cocodona, I asked questions about like the plant life around me, and like someone behind me was like, "Oh, it's this." So people know.
I love Nora because she will say stuff like that, and like when we did Bad Water, like she's just randomly talking with some dude, and it's like, "Hey, dude, like, have you ever like done this?"
Oh yeah, I didn't.
And then he's like,
"I didn't say it like."
Yeah, that. I've done it. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, no, my Simon's really famous.
I did not say any. Okay.
No, I was not famous.
He's butchering all of this. Okay, he's making fun of me because.
Should we say the punch first? No,
yeah,
continue.
Say the punch.
But that was Harvey Lewis.
Yeah, it was Harvey Lewis.
Yeah, and she had no clue. Which is it happens.
But anyway, he's making fun of me because the person that told us about the plant thing was
Sarah?
No, that's not her name. DeGroff is her last name.
Yeah.
Ah, shoot.
She's very
good. She's an elite athlete.
Mount to Coast.
SD Groff, I feel like it's her tag in Instagram. Why am I forgetting
Esther?
her name? No, not Esther, but like SD. Anyway, so like I realized it quickly when I turned around who it was. She was very nice.
She was very nice.
But he's making fun of me because, yes, at Badwater 135, I was like just checking out our car, and this guy was just leaning against the motel doorway, watching and being like, "Hey, like, how are you doing? Is this your first time?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I'm really nervous. Like, I was panicking as crew chief that everything was gonna go wrong. And I'm just not thinking about it. Just like, have you ever done this before? And like, any advice? He's like, oh yeah, I think I've done it a few times. I was like, oh cool. Like, and then we just kept talking, and I said, well, what's your name? And he said Harvey, and I was like, you're that Harvey, aren't you?
Yeah.
And he was like,
it was really nice.
He was so nice. He
really
was so nice. I'm just, still don't know people in this sport very well. But Simon, another good question came in. Marathon des Sables. We've talked about this race before. Would you ever do it? Yeah, like.
What did I say?
You said no. Well, no, you said maybe, but it's a stage race. It's so different. Like.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about it.
We have.
Yeah, I don't know if we have.
Anyway.
What I would say is that if someone would pay for me to do it, then I would do it. But I feel that's the kind of race that you're probably gonna burn like $4,000 or $5,000 to run, and I'm like,
that's a lot.
We're not rich. Like,
that's a lot.
We're not rich, guys. Like, we have 2 roommates in the house, so like, it's not. I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna spend like that amount of money for a single race again, because Badwater is stupid expensive. Don't tell them that, but yeah. So there's a budget constraint, but it looks interesting. And I was actually talking with Stuart and other people about stage race. Like, I think there is something about stage race that it would be interesting to try it out, because when you race like this right now, like from where we are right now, going to Village Green, I'm gonna meet like maybe 10 or 20 other runner at most. Like, we're gonna like back and forth all the time. The people that are faster, they're gone. Like, it's never again. People that are slower, we're never gonna see each other again. Like, maybe like cross path, but that's it. But for a stage race, you do your thing, and then in the evening you're sitting down, you're having dinner, and then they will be there and you will interact with them, people of all level. And I think that's really cool, and that's a great way to connect with the people of different level, and I think that would be something worth trying at some point. But yeah, Marathon des Sables would be financially a little bit taxing, which then I don't know about that. But
hard to say.
Uh-huh.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's random, but I saw a real influencer that tried Tahoe, and I think he said he spent $15,000 for that race. And I was like, geez, I don't think I'm racing right, because I'm like, that's like my budget for the whole freaking year. Like, this is crazy. But yeah, it's just different amount of resources, and I can't burn that amount of resource. Like, that's not feasible.
Oh wow, this is pretty.
It is really pretty.
This
yeah.
is nice.
Yeah.
One question, which is interesting: how does ultra running affect testosterone? I feel like that's a.
I don't know.
Medical
I mean, does
question.
anyone
I don't
know?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He seems the same before and after. Medically, you've been the same before and after.
Yeah, I really don't know. It's I mean, would I be losing more hair if I had more or less testosterone? I don't know, but like, actually, if you guys ever wonder if I'm like on like testosterone or anabolic steroids, like, clearly not. This is good, but I really don't know. What I do know is that definitely there are some people that are on TRT and these sorts of things in the sport, and I think TRT is one of the, well, at pro level that definitely not tolerated, but like at the amateur level, I think it's tolerated. So I don't know. T goes to 0. But I don't know about that. Yeah.
I mean, no.
My wife says we're good.
But I mean, but like, I think you should talk to a medical provider. I don't know. I think I think you'd have to go. I mean, if you're concerned, go get tested.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you look, I think at women, for example, it's more obvious. Like you have like how it's called, Red syndrome, or like that. Like if you go in endurance sports, and especially if you're under fueling, your hormonal cycle is all disrupted. So I'm sure it can happen to guys too. If you're under fueling chronically and overtraining chronically, you could have disruption. So yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, it could drop to abnormal level in that case.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, be careful. I know we wouldn't want anyone to be taking substances that are unsafe before doing any activity, any new sport. You should be talking to your primary care provider anyway. I think that's always a recommendation.
I mean, honestly, when my doctor says I shouldn't run, I tell him to fuck off. But
oh yeah, is that what you say exactly to your doctor? No, you don't say that.
I'm paraphrasing.
You're paraphrasing, yeah.
But
we've noticed no differences. You've been fine.
Yeah,
been exactly
it hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't changed anything, honestly. So.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on the intensity, and I think there are some people.
Intense.
I seem intense, which is funny because I'm not. Like I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna like David Goggin kind of style it and then go to surgery because my knee is all messed up and go in rhabdo and think it's funny. Like I will definitely pull the plug before that. But I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so successful at never actually DNFing. It's because I know when I'm just at the border of being too much, and then that's where I'm going to slow down and calm down a little bit and take time. I mean, just before Tahoe, for example, I didn't train for Tahoe because I knew I was injured, and yeah, I could ignore the injury and go ball to the wall, but that's not going to help. That's just going to make things worse. So I'm going to dial it down until I get healthy, get back stronger, rather than ignoring what's obviously happening. So
yeah. Where are you now?
Yeah, UTMB is probably super expensive. That's a good question. Like a lot of the expense on these things, right? Like it's the travel, like getting there, lodging, like the race itself. Yeah, like if the race, the registration is $400 or it's $500, like that seems like a big difference, but $100 difference is like meaningless compared to, flying to freaking Geneva and then taking the bus all the way to Chamonix. Like that's decently expensive. I think for a race like UTMB, just like it was for Tour des Géants, the way we justify it's like it's not just we're going for the single race. Like for Tour des Géants, then we did Tour du Mont Blanc together. Like that's our vacation. Like that's what we do this year. We don't go to the beach in Mexico and all-include resort. What we do is we go to do Tour du Mont Blanc so you can get injured there and we can have medical bill instead. Well, that was not a plan, but but jokes aside, like that's our vacation. So the extra expense is getting there. But I feel like Marathon des Sables, like because that's definitely why this is going that direction. Like I'm not sure we would necessarily do as much. Whereas if we go and do UTMB, we're gonna go ahead and hang out in the Alps and have a blast over there. Probably do Tour du Mont Blanc together again, like as a revenge hike. So it would justify it a little bit. But it's true. I can't remember how much it was, but it was probably $1,000 flying, which was probably the biggest expense. Yeah, round trip, and then the bus to get to Chamonix. Well, we went to Courmayeur in this case, but it was actually pretty decently cheap.
Yeah, pretty cheap. Flixbus was cheap.
Yeah, lodging is the bigger expense for sure.
But I also think for a lot of people that are saving, you might be a lot of people that are doing it are bringing a whole crew that they may be then.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah.
So for Simon's often doing these by himself. Sleeps in a car or says.
Yeah, it's shocking how cheap some of my race really far have been. Like a race like Fuji is. Yeah, it's the flight is by far the most expensive thing. Then the registration was decently cheap. And then lodging is like, well, I have like 2 days of lodging and then I'm racing. So I'm not taking anything and I'm going to sleep like at the start finish if I finish too early. But because I was by myself, it was actually like not super expensive. The most expensive race we've done is by far Badwater. That was by far the most expensive because we had the crew. We had to rent a place forever. And like, everything was just... really expensive
because it was it's a huge deal to ask people to be there with you for a
week. We paid for it.
We paid for all. So that was the only thing. But I mean, this may be very off topic from what we're doing for the movie, but if anyone's interested, like it might be helpful for us to do a breakdown of what it's like for us to really cover like a race that I'm also at, like what it looks like in terms of cost breakdown. We can speak to that because we try to be very, very for the most part. We try to just drive
cost conscious. Is that the way you say it?
Cost conscious, frugal.
We're fucking cheap. Like that's really what it is. Like and like I have a heart attack when I see like an influencer saying like they like blasted 15,000 for Tahoe. I was like, whoa, like, whoa, like
we're cheap.
I was feeling bad to fly there, but the flight was pretty cheap because we're in San Diego, so it's easy to fly to Sacramento, take the car, and then I had one night hotel. So all in all, like by far the most expensive for this race now at Tahoe was it's the race. Like it is pricey, right? Like that's one of the complaints about destination trails that these are fairly pricey. But when you don't have to travel for it or like the travel is cheap, then it's not too bad.
But someone asked a good question, which is yes. Can you work remotely from the places you are racing to, or do you? We both work remotely when we do this.
And that's a very good point. Like because that's the first thing I told Nora when I saw the 15,000. It's like, well, based on the cost breakdown, like I'm assuming it's like 5 people for 3 weeks. that are not working, which is like, that's actually the most expensive part of that. Like salaries for 3 weeks for 5 people is a lot of money. Like it's way more than 15,000 when you think about it. I would not be able to race nearly as much if I couldn't justify working remotely. And Nora is working remotely
100%.
from the house all the time. Whereas for me, I tell my boss like, I'll be away for this week. And that's good. Like I need to work from the office as much as possible, but I think there's tolerance, is the nicest way to say, there's tolerance for me being like on these things as long as I do my work. And most of the time that means like I'm working until the race is starting basically. And as soon as the race is over, I'm picking up my computer and we're getting back to it as soon as possible. Which after a race like Tahoe, like I was working Wednesday morning. I was working already. I flew back Tuesday evening after the race, and you're sleepy. That's too bad. Like sucks to be you, but you got to work anyway.
Yeah, and you're right. Like we're planning our vacation or our time off only like for like some of the big ones. That's why for Tour de Géant we decided to take like we're gonna take a 2-week vacation. That was our 2-week vacation of the year. Yeah. To travel and really invest in having something really special in the Alps. But otherwise, for all of these races, we're still working. That's how we're able to do. I mean, I think even in the Cocodona video, you see that. Like I'm at a place working until 8:30, and then I was able to take one day of PTO. Yeah, and
literally the way we organize it is like I was like, all right, where will I be Wednesday morning? Yeah, so she can still sleep, but then you did not sleep, and then we're gonna finish at the reasonable time so she can sleep in the evening and then work the next day. Yeah, I mean, we're really real about that. Like, it's funny how often I'm told, like, oh, it must be nice to not work. It's like, yeah, it must be nice, but I have no clue what you're talking about. Or like, wow, you must be rich. It's like, yeah. And then I cry a little bit inside, like, yeah,
and both of us work on weekends sometimes, too. Like,
most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time we work.
That's life. That's life. It's the choice we make, right? Yeah, exactly.
This is how we balance it. We really invest in when we're doing these things. We're really away and gone, and then, but yeah, we can work remotely, so we make it work. Yeah,
which we're very fortunate for. Like there's no question. There are things that enable us to do these things, and like I'm very fortunate for. But like to think that it's just like spoon fed to us is like kind of insane.
Yeah, you can always catch us every year, like in the places we repeat. Like in Leadville, we're always at that one cafe working in the corner.
Yes. If you want to find us at Leadville, like I'm not even gonna name the name of the cafe because
everyone knows the cafe. It's the main strip. It's the one with a line out every time. But like, we're working in the corner with our headphones in.
That's
every time.
I think there's not a single time at Leadville that I went to the briefing and I was fully listening. I always was listening to something like on a call, and then filming, taking footage, and being like, I wish I could just like listen to Ken say like dig deep, and I was like, yeah, I mean, keep it down, guys. Like I gotta say something on my call right now. I gotta pretend that I'm like actually in a reasonable place, not like at the race check-in, like with a big crowd. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the wackier ones. I mean, so here's some pro tips if you're trying to, like, if you can work remotely for some time and do this and enjoy this is anywhere we go. We typically, we're trying to car camp, so we're taking our car.
Yeah. Walmart is good for that. You can. Yeah, they have a toilet.
Look up Walmarts and Starbucks. Those are the two places to look up because, yes, Walmart, you can typically stay overnight in that parking lot, which is what we do and where we sleep. And then, it has a toilet in the morning. We brush our teeth. Like, that's, we can take care of things there because they're open usually super early. And then Starbucks always has consistent Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So that's what we've done to make sure, like, on those days where it's, we work from a Starbucks,
And I think the craziest for me, actually, and you were not on these, but when I went, for example, to Fuji and to Diagonale des Fous, I was working all the time I was there, which there's a time difference. So I was working, I think Fuji, I can't remember which one it was, but one of them was like midnight to 8 in the morning was like the equivalent of the working time. Like, I think that might have been Diagonale des Fous. I can't remember which one it was. It was like, well, like that's really the time I would want to sleep, but like I can't sleep because I'm like on call and working nonstop. That was stupid. That was not great.
We also
I don't recommend that.
We also make mistakes and learn.
It makes it much less enjoyable for sure because like, oh shit, like I'm in Japan, like would be great to enjoy it, but that's not how our life right now, unfortunately. So no. All right, enough bitching around, right?
Yeah, wait, there's a question though. How do you both, or how old were you both? How old were we started running ultras?
How old was I?
I don't know.
I guess it's like 5 or 6 years ago, and like I'm 39 right now, so I guess I was I guess 34, 33, 34. All my life, I've always been more of a hiker than a runner. And I made this transition kind of seamlessly a little bit because I was just hiking longer and longer, especially when I came to the US in 2016. So I was around 30, and then I would just go like in Yosemite, for example, and I would say, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna do Half Dome today, and it's like, oh, there's a Half Cloud also, so I'm gonna do that also, and then I'm gonna go all the way to the road and come back, and then when you look the miles, it's probably like I did 30, 35 miles with a lot of climb, and that means that you're running a little bit. So I kind of integrated trail running without realizing that I was doing it, and eventually I went into ultra running itself, and the transition was somewhat seamless because of that. But yeah, I mean, I guess early 30s for both of us. I mean, you're a little younger, of course.
Yeah, I'm 35 right now, and I got into it after Simon. My first was cold water.
And like 2011, 2011, 2021. 2021.
I was 21.
2021.
Yeah,
she finished third place.
Yeah, so it was 2021, so that was...
She didn't feel prepared or ready for it. To go back to the question of before, like, are you ready to run that? And then she finished third. So
I was about 31 when I started to get into this. And so Simon was 34. 30, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was,
It's never too early and never too late, I guess. I mean, I guess at some point it is, but...
But I also remember when I was like 20 years old and I heard of a marathon, and I was like, that's... Who can do
I felt
that?
like
That's
that too.
Absurd.
I felt like that too. And I still feel like that to some extent, but I remember thinking like, I hope someday I would be able to do a marathon. Like when I was doing my PhD, so between 25 and 30, I can't remember when I had that. I was like looking at people running marathons, like this is crazy. I hope someday I would be able to do that. Whereas now it's a little bit more trivial, and I guess what I would think is I hope one day I would qualify for Boston, but I actually don't care.
No, but I feel like the sport is older. Like the sport is like 30s, 40s, and 50s is what I see.
Yeah, for sure.
So any point, because again, it's not this like.
I feel that with age you lose speed, but you gain endurance or maybe mental resilience.
Maybe both.
A little bit. And that's the big difference. Like, yeah, running like a sub 3 hour marathon when you're in your 60, like good luck. But running 100 mile, I mean running, but doing 100 mile, it's manageable because you've been through shit before and you know how to push through. By the way, we're doing Brockway to Tahoe, and Tahoe City is the turnaround. I was so tired by then. I slept at Brockway for about an hour and a half, and this is just a bunch of climb, but we had really nice view coming down to Tahoe City, and that felt really special. And on the way back, we'll see, and that was really beautiful. But holy crap, like there were so many flies around dusk. Is it dusk when it's the sunset?
Yeah, dusk. Yeah.
Oh man, like I just like kept like all the time. It was crazy. At some point I was like, okay, I gotta have long sleeve because it was just crazy. So like I stopped for like, I don't know, 20 seconds, and during that 20 second I killed probably like 50 mosquitoes, but still I got bitten like 5 times. Like it was absolutely insane, and like yeah, that was not fun. And it really felt like I really want to sleep on the trail right now, but I also don't think that's a good idea because you're gonna be bitten all over like you won't exist. They will eat you for sure.
See, a lot of people in the chat, people speaking about they're starting in their 40s or their 50s. That feels completely like on par with what I hear. Yeah, people are starting this.
Yeah, I mean you're definitely at the good age, but at the same time it's amazing and good for you, and like that's
and that's still hard.
Really cool. Absolutely, absolutely. But I think there's this fear that we're too old for these things. Like, oh, it's 20 years old, are supposed to do that. But look at like people like Jim and Courtney, and like these people are not early 20s. They're in their late 30s, I believe,
and almost early 40s.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously they've been there for a little bit, but it just shows that they can still perform at the level that they do and be the best in the world at these age. Meaning that, like, of course, at some point, like, it goes down a little bit, and of course, like, someone who's 50 years old will like heal from a race a little slower, and you need to be a little more careful. And I think you just need to be mindful about that. And I think that's something that you learn with age is understanding your body a little bit more, understanding that like it's all in your head, and like that's partly true that you can push through things, but there are such things as injury, there is such thing as underfueling and being dehydrated, and then you see these signs because you know yourself, and because you know that you can adjust and solve these issues. And I think that's really something that is important. Like I hate the mindset of pushing through pains and injuries. And I think it's much more about finding a way to be sustainable and having fun out there. Yes, it's difficult, but still having joy of the adventure rather than like pain for pain and injury because I'm such a badass. Like, you're not a badass if you're ignoring injury. You're just an idiot. Like, that's as simple as that. And at some point, I think the ego of the early 20s, especially for guys, you get older and you realize, like, this is so dumb. Like, this is stupid. Like, why would I want to be in pain? Like, this is stupid. I can still want to push myself, but I don't want to injure myself for no reason. And this level of maturity can help you be successful, especially with longer distances.
Yeah, and I think probably maybe the folks in the chat would agree. Like, this is the mindset of an ultra is to finish.
Yeah.
Right. Like, some of the shorter stuff, the speedier stuff is about like time. You may have a time goal for these ultras, but much more often it is like to finish, which is quite an accomplishment. And I think the patience,
absolutely.
the mental endurance, like, I think you might not have until you're older. But I want to, there is a question from Focus Outdoor Adventures. Where do we live and what is your location? How well does your location work for ultra running?
So we're close to San Diego. We're in Carlsbad, so that's like a few miles north from San Diego. Not so far from the coast, but again, we're not rich, so we're not by the beach. But it works decently well. We used to be in Cambridge, like Boston, together. That was a little further away from most races, whereas there's so many races in Arizona, Utah, Colorado, California, that it makes it easier to travel to race. A lot of them we actually drive, like we said. Like, that's a great way to save costs and save time. We just take the car, we drive to Phoenix through the night, and then we're racing Saturday morning. That's super helpful. There's a fair amount of hills around us. It's almost impossible to run and not have hills. The way I do my speed work is at the gym on a treadmill, because that's the only way to be on flat. If we want mountains, we're not so far. Actually, yesterday we went on the PCT, Pacific Crest Trail, so we have access to decent trail. I would rather be, though, like in, I don't know, Flagstaff or Colorado or Utah, but it's still really, really good. We can't complain about that.
Yeah, we're driving constantly to ultras versus like even thinking about flying. Which when we first started ultra running, that was when we lived in Boston, so it was
it was definitely harder to do the races.
And therefore more expensive. So I mean, like, I think a part of also what makes this cheaper for us is we can drive to a ton of these places. It's Nevada, Utah, Colorado.
Yeah, and since we sleep in the car when we do that, like, bringing the car is not just that we don't have to pay for the flight, we don't have to pay for a car, and most of the time we don't have to pay for lodging. Like, you really just have to pay for gas, which makes it super easy, and then it's much more flexible because we can decide last minute, like, Nora, are you coming or not? Yep. So that's great. And if she's coming, like, it's not more expensive for her to tag along than if I go by myself. So it's really helpful. But yeah, I wish we had a little more access to trail and high altitude. That's the only thing that I would change. But other than that, I think the good thing about being in where we are is that I guess technically there's a period of time that people here consider winter, but there's no off season. So we can
run all the time.
I can run all the time, and I'm never like forced to be on the treadmill. If I want to go run, I can go run outdoor, which is great.
Yeah, we feel very lucky, but it is also really pricey to be here.
Yeah.
It's stupid expensive. Southern California. Oh my god. We're not, but neither of us are from here, so this feels ridiculous. It's beautiful here.
I'm French Canadian, by the way.
And I'm from Massachusetts. Yeah. I'm not from here.
Yeah.
I'm rude, and everyone's nice and happy here.
Oh, I said.
What'd you do?
Probably said I miss you, Nora.
Aw, you fart? Is that why? Well, but I wanted to acknowledge stay soft from Hal. Totally agree with staying soft. I think I said that on my 100-miler. I said I'm soft.
Stay soft, yeah.
I love that. Stay soft, man.
Stay soft.
Soft energy. I love it.
Yep.
But someone also asked a question about considering Oregon Cascades 100. It's point to point from Sisters to Bend.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, so we're not familiar with it. So will we consider it? I mean, I think that's actually one thing. We haven't done as much of the Northwest. Like you did.
And that's a 200 also? You said
100.
100.
Oregon Cascades is 100. I do think we should go to the Northwest more often. It's so beautiful.
I tried to apply for North Cascade, which I guess is a different race, but the name is still familiar. But I didn't get picked for the lottery. I'm gonna apply again, I guess, this year.
But I'm excited that he's gonna be at Bigfoot because I definitely want to join you for Bigfoot and be in the Cascades. Like
absolutely.
One of our first trip together as a couple was to the North Cascades, and you spent early in the pandemic when you were remote. you spent a lot of time in Washington.
Yeah, I spent
State.
2 weeks in Washington and 2 weeks in Colorado.
Yeah. But yeah, we haven't spent enough time in the Northwest. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now we have. So when could Pacers join you again? At what mile?
On this race right now, it's mile 60. So we've done that for a while.
Mile 60.
But I thought I would be solo the whole time. Now I'm probably at mile 130, 140, something like that. There you go, 130. Oh, that was pretty accurate actually. So yeah, it would be at mile. Actually, like we can see it here. Well, no. I'm gonna bring it back.
Nice picking your nose.
All right. So these are the first aid station, and it's here that you could have someone all the way to the end.
Sorry, a question made me laugh, but you can.
Okay, I'm curious to hear it. Yeah. But not, right now we're right here, and then I had someone at Village Green that proposed to pace, and that steward, which was super helpful. I didn't know him, and just he was just pacing people that were there because his runner DNF'd. So then he was just pacing a bunch of people, and then from Village Green all the way to the end. You actually cannot change pacer at Spooner. So if you pick a pacer at Village Green, they have to do the almost 40 miles, which is it's a fair amount of time, especially when you're slow like me towards that. Like that was probably 20 hours or something crazy like that. So it's a major pacing duty, whereas all of the other one, I think you can change every time if you're so inclined, except here at Spooner.
Yeah. So the question from Astro Lizard, and also agree with Childs. Wyoming is a great place to train. We love the Grand Tetons and the Wind River area. Beautiful. That was a great trip when we did Wyoming. Wouldn't mind going back. Have either of you considered doing Barkley from Astro Lizard? Why am I laughing at that, Simon?
I don't know why you're laughing, but
we just talked about it. That's why.
Yeah. Have I considered doing it? I mean, of course you ask yourself, but I mean, pretty automatically for me, the answer is no. I think there's a lot of hype around Barkley and good for people. For me, I mean, first of all, they would not pick me. They would not pick me to race it. So like that's kind of a moot point when you think about it. But even if somehow I knew the people and knew how to apply, and somehow I was able to convince them that they should let me, I would probably not even finish one lap. Like that's just the reality of how challenging the Barkley Marathon is. It's definitely one notch above everything else. And it goes a little bit against, like, I really want the sport to be accessible, and that seems a little more exclusive than I like it to be. Like the cutoff are too tight, but even like you have to know the people and you have to like go through this esoteric kind of way of applying. And I'm trying the total opposite with my channel. I'm trying to say like, hey, like, you want to have fun? Like, let's come and have fun. So the Barkley is not necessarily aligned with me. Kudos to anyone trying it and doing it for sure. Like that's really an impressive accomplishment. I mean, it's definitely the toughest ultramarathon in the world, right? But it's definitely not for me, and it's not the vibe that I'm looking for in a race. So not gonna do it. But to pretend that like it's because I choose not to, it would be like saying like, oh, I don't date. I've seen memes with that, but like, who would it be like? I don't know. Like, oh, I like. Nora is not dating Brad Pitt, and like, yeah, I mean, it's partly because she loves me, but also like, would Brad Pitt date you, right? Like, that's a little bit the like, well, yeah, like I'm not doing Barkley, but Barkley doesn't want me to try it also anyway. But even if like somehow that was not the case, that wouldn't change my opinion of like, do I want to do it? So.
Yeah, and I would say it's a no from me.
Shorter answer, but the same kind of outcome. Yeah.
But I mean, for Simon has very like valued reasons for it in addition to, but for me, it's just like, it's not even, it doesn't look pretty. I am shallow. I want to do the views. Like, I want to see this. Like, I want us to be an adventure in a beautiful place. Even
I want to hang out with volunteers. I want to have like like
pet
people around, and yeah, like it's just a little bit different in terms of type of adventure. Yeah. The one answer that made me laugh so much was I think it was Anton Kuprika. I don't pronounce it well.
Kuprishka? I don't know how to
Kuprishka, yeah, anyway.
I'm gonna mess it up, sorry.
But he said like, yeah, you know, there's just so many 100 miles you can do in your life. I'm not gonna waste one attempt at a scavenger hunt in the forest or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was pretty rude when you think about it. I'm not nearly as rude as that. It's
But he's right. It's orienteering.
It's
like,
orienteering.
Which is a totally different
yeah.
skill. And yeah,
Yeah.
I can't do it. There's no way I do.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Simon, did you see any animals on this?
Well, I saw humans, but did I see any real animal? I mean, other than minor stuff, no, but a lot of people saw bears. I did not. Usually I'm the one seeing the bears all the time. I saw some at the canyons, for example, but no, I didn't see anything at all. Yeah, I know it's a boring answer, but no is the answer.
So no bears.
No.
Well, I see a bear on the Tahoe thing, so I don't know.
Well, like I said, some people saw bears.
Yeah.
That time, like while I was racing, close to me, but I didn't see it.
Unlucky. One person asked, is that the same problem with the last man standings? Which I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
No.
Last man standing, it's just I don't know them as much, and I will probably do a last man standing or like a backyard ultra. I don't know if there's a difference. Like in my mind, it's the same. If there's a technical difference, like please educate me because I'm sure I sound stupid. But I think it's the same thing. Same format of, for those not familiar, doing a 4.1 something mile every hour, and then you gotta every hour line up, do another one. You can bank time. I think for me the biggest problem is that at some point I gotta take a dump, and that would make me miss the next start. That's just the reality of it, right? But I'm gonna try to do it someday. I think the reason I'm less keen on that is the same reason why I'm less keen on a race like across the year, which I've done, or Jackpot Ultra, which is like I go out there to have adventure in nature and go do these distance and these sorts of things. Doing short loops is not exactly what I'm aiming to do. I feel that doing these things, it's much more about, and again, like it's not because I don't value people that do it, it's just not what myself I'm seeking. And it feels much more a physical challenge, like of pushing your physical limit of doing that distance in that amount of time. And I'm much less keen on that. Like, will I do, for example, 100-mile around like the track and field to see how far can I go? Like, I don't think I'm gonna do that ever again. Like, I kind of know what's my like top that I can do, and I'm not interested in pushing my physical limit, because it's also that if I do that, then I feel that the only correct way to do it is, all right, like let's take like a 4, 5, 6 months of only preparing specifically for that, because the goal is to do a specific distance and I gotta be prepared for it, as opposed to just like right now, Tahoe 200, my only goal is to finish in the 104, 105 hours and like have fun and have an adventure. So different mindset a little bit, but I think I'm gonna try something just for the heck of it for the last man standing.
And I will say, I think like a backyard, like one thing that can be nice about these races is then you have like your crew and everyone hanging out. Like it is really, it is very accessible, unlike a Barclay, right? Like anyone can join these. It seems much more accessible.
Yeah.
The like crewing aspect, the pace, I guess there's no pacing, but the crewing aspect is like, it's a big party, which is a little bit like ultra, like across the years, Javelina, these like multi-loop ones where it's, you always go back to the same place. Like it's, for anyone crewing or pacing these kinds of things, like it's logistically easy and it's a blast. Like it's a huge part. My understanding for these last man standing or last person standing races is it can also just feel like a really nice party. So that
if you're the crew.
If you're the crew.
Yeah.
So that I'm for.
Yeah.
But yeah. There's also a question: are you afraid when you confront bears on the trail, Simon?
The bear is afraid.
All right.
Well, it's true. I've never.
It's true, the bears.
I've never had I've seen bears at least 100 times in my life. Always black bear, and like the most abnormal thing would be for the bear to not shit itself. Like I would say 90% of the time, the bear is, oh my god, like it's a human, like I gotta run away, and they just run away. And it's funny because they try to sneak out, but they're really big, so they're not subtle at all. But I'm like, hey, wait, I gotta take a picture, man. Oh no, you're gone. The few times I saw a little bit more like, oh, okay, is when they're not spooked by you and they look at you and you look at them, but then eventually they just kind of lose interest and they just walk off. That's the extent of what I've had. Like I've never had a bear be aggressive towards me. I've seen cubs, but it was never in a situation where you're between the cubs or it feels that you're threatening them. Like it's more like they're there and like you're backing off a little bit, but I've never been worried. The one time I was worried with wildlife was more with Nora when we were at Ure 100 and we saw a dead carcass of a deer or part of a carcass that was clearly being eaten at the time. And when we arrived, it was the middle of the night. Most definitely, it was a mountain lion that just got spooked by us, but didn't have time to carry away the carcass away from the trail. So it was most likely like within feet of us and looking at us, like seeing what we were gonna do and wondering like, should we fight or should like I let them go? And we just like we just left. Like we went over the limb that was left and we just continued. And like you were looking around like wondering if it was creeping on us, which I mean maybe it was not, because the mountain lion can be pretty sneaky. But nothing bad happened. But it was pretty obvious that like that was not a good situation. Even though we didn't see the danger, it was clear that the danger was like right in our face.
Yeah, that was the scariest time.
That was scary. That was a real situation. The other like weird scary situation was we were doing a class 3 in Colorado. So class 3 is not mountain climbing at all, but like you have exposed cliff, and she was on an exposed cliff, and the mountain goat just came like here, like over her, like she's here, the mountain goat is here, and like it's a cliff, and like the mountain goat was like looking down and was like, hey, like should I just give her a little push? That was a little sketchy. I was lower than her. I couldn't do anything. I was like, I hope the mountain goat just goes away. And it took a little bit. Like it was not immediate. Like I told Nora, like, hey, like stop moving, hug the wall, like brace yourself, like if it tries to push you, and hopefully it goes away. And eventually it went away. But like that was way scarier than any bear encounter I've had. And I've had bear encounter that were like 10 feet from me, like in a curve, in not a snowstorm, but a rainstorm that like probably made the bear not realize that I was coming, and I didn't realize. And then you curve, and it's like, hey, whoa, wow, there's a bear. But then they just like, yeah, they needed new diaper afterwards, basically. So.
Or I guess I would say, like, if you're in the Grand Tetons, that we saw 2 bears in the Grand Tetons that were very comfortable. Those are weirder experiences.
But they were not so big.
No, but they weren't scared of us.
No, they were not scared, but yeah, they were pretty small. But
they were cute.
Yeah, but it's a national park. Like that's the problem. It's a national park, so they're really used to tourists. But these one that was not.
Yeah. But like,
close to being scary.
Just because we say we're not scared doesn't mean we're being stupid. So,
yeah, exactly. There's a difference between like being scared and being careless, and I think I have a lot of experience, like much more than Nora with these things, and like I know what could potentially be dangerous and what is not. It doesn't mean like I'm turning down my guard, but like it never reached a point of like, ooh, like that's sketchy. Like none of these were sketchy. So yeah.
So where are we at now?
Yeah, so sure. So I'm struggling now. I'm going towards Village Green, and I don't know if we've seen it yet. Not yet, but what I tried, so at Brookway, which is around, I would say 1:45. So we're getting there, right? It's gonna be the last day soon, and Brookway, I decided I'm gonna take good sleep, because this is the last time I can have a good sleep, and then I'm gonna push through the finish and sleep if I need to on the trail, but not like wait too long at aid station. But I also tried to time it. I didn't want to lose too much time at Brookway, but I didn't want to leave too early, because one of the like not sketchy but technical trail of the whole course is called Powerline, and we're getting to it and going out of Village Green. Like it's a super steep climb up, super annoying, super painful, but now you got to go down, and it's powdery. It's like you don't have good grip, so I didn't want to do that in the middle of, not the middle of the night, but even like just before sunrise. So I waited a little bit so that I would be able to do it and feel pretty confident about it. Now I'm just blah-blahing, but I'm going to flip it to it. Yeah, I think we're probably really close to it. The views were really nice, but yeah, it's like it's going down, and it's hard to show it on camera, but for anyone who was there, I'm sure you were agreeing that Powerline is the one portion of the trail. It's like, yeah, that's not a nice trail anymore. Like, what's going on with that? Like it just doesn't match with anything else really of the course, but I guess that's the only way to get there somehow. But yeah, it was just not great, but it offered a great view, and you can see it like the whole lake, and you're going towards it, and then you have the power line, so it's a sign that we're getting to the bad part. But yeah,
the views are amazing.
The views are amazing, and I really felt like when I was at this point, there were two things like standing between me and the finish line. There was going down Powerline, and then there was going up after Village Green. There's a fairly long uphill on a road, which turned out to not be so bad, but I just remember going down that at night on the way in, It was just so painful and so annoying. Yeah, we're going down. Like, it's not obvious, but this is steep right now, and all of these are pretty loose. So like you side my pole just poked one and kind of like lost a little bit footing. This is just super powdery, and you just don't have good grip, and it would be easy to fall on your ass. You wouldn't hurt yourself so bad, but it would be a little annoying to fall down. So I was trying to be really mindful and really careful and really slow, and keep in mind, like, I've been going on for 3 days by now, and my heels are painful, everything is painful, I'm tired, I'm not fully there. And that's where I'm actually gonna pick up the pacer. I didn't know at the time, but like I was really struggling back then. So the pacer was a really good surprise when I finally like had someone to bring me to the finish line, really. So that really helps also. Like, mentally, I feel like I'm not as responsible for me finishing anymore. Like, I'm gonna do my part, but I'm not gonna drop when someone is pacing me. And having someone felt like, okay, like we're almost there, like we're almost done. So yeah,
That's nice. One person just spoke to that they're quite nervous about running because they live near mountain lions and grizzly bears, and wishing they could get more comfortable. I mean, I've never faced a grizzly bear. That's
yeah.
scary.
Grizzly bear would be definitely scarier. I think in grizzly bear country, you're advised to have pepper spray or bear spray, because yeah, I mean, a grizzly bear is way more. I've never seen a grizzly bear in nature. Like, that's way more aggressive than a black bear. There's no question there. Mountain lion, I think it's pretty rare that they attack anyone. Maybe I'm naive about it, but I would be much more worried about grizzly bear myself. But yeah, maybe I'm naive about it. We're not in bear country in that sense.
But yeah, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable anyway. Like, as much as we're like, I mean,
oh yeah, you know, I understand.
Like,
that's very understandable. You have to take more precaution when you're doing that. I mean, the general advice in grizzly country is to be a group of 4 usually. That I think it's based on, like, there's never been an attack on a 4 people party, but I think the real advice is, like, you don't want to be the slowest runner out of that group of 4. Like, that's the general tip. Go with someone who's slower than you and tastier if possible. Pro tip. Yeah, go with someone who looks tasty. Yeah. Now we're going in village green, and that was so annoying. You have like a bajillion mile on road, and when my heel were painful, that was by far the worst part of the whole race, was just in village green, like walking to that. But I came in, and like we had, like, I had some, like, we don't see them, but I guess it's them here, some friends that that were supporting. There you go, you have Stuart, who was like, I'm gonna pace you. I was like, yeah, there you go, the friends are there. That was so great. Like, I was like, oh my god, you're really gonna pace me until the end? Like, that's crazy. I was definitely not as social back then. Like, I was definitely grumpier. So sorry, Stuart, but it was very, very, very appreciated.
Ooh, was there a popsicle truck at the bottom of Powerline?
A popsicle truck? I don't remember that, honestly. I definitely did not have a popsicle myself, so I didn't know. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like Simon missed out.
Yes, I definitely missed out. Yeah.
For other races, if anyone ever does Bighorn 100, there's a secret popsicle aid station.
It's not really secret because they tell you, but yeah. There's popsicle in the last 4 miles. Last 2 miles maybe, anyway.
Yeah, along like a residential area, which was really needed because that sucked. It was so freaking hot.
Yeah. So now we're going up. I don't know if you already finished it. Maybe I was too tired, but we were going up the road, and it lasted a long time. But actually, I was so sleepy by then that at some point, like, and Stuart didn't even realize he was behind me. But I started just like we were on dirt road, and I started just going like on the side, like, and I think he thought I was gonna pee or something, and I was totally out of it. Like, I was sleepwalking, and I was just like walking in a random direction and kind of woke up. But I think that's the last time I was majorly sleepwalking. Afterwards, it was just like being tired, slept 5 minutes, being tired, slept 5 minutes. But like that was like the peak of like I'm not there right now, and like if you talk to me, I'm not responding. So that's how tired I was. But I felt that it improved afterwards, because we're in the last day, and that's something that just feels great to think. Wow, like this is the last time I see a morning, and next time like it's morning, like I'm done, and like that was a great feeling. I was really focusing on that. That's part of the TRT course, like a gorgeous view, and that was really giving me strength to keep going, and knowing that finally we're going towards the finish line. It's still far, like we still have like a solid 35 miles by then, but the end is like inside somehow, and that makes it so much easier than when we were going the other way and just getting further and further. I spent some time with Chris also on trail. It's funny because, as I said at the beginning, like you have your people that you're going to hang out at some point, like for the rest of the race. And Chris, we met the first time at mile 30. We were sitting next to each other at the aid station, just chatting a little bit. He's from the UK, he lives in Texas right now, and he's about to go back actually. But it was great to meet there, and yeah, then we meet like the last day like that, and sometimes he was struggling, sometimes I was struggling, so we're leapfrogging a little bit. I think he probably finished before me because I was really not in a dark place, but definitely in a low point for until the rest of the race. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of sort of managing low points, someone asked, how do you figure out when to, sorry, Bill Taylor asked, how do you figure out when to pause training running because of worrying about aggravating a potential injury, and when to push
It's so
through?
tough. It's so, yeah, it's so, I feel like,
It's tough.
I wish I had a good tip for that. It's the kind of thing that you try and then you do the mistake once of pushing too much and regretting, and then next time you know a little bit better and you think that you're better at it. But like, if you look, I did the mistake at Cruel. I thought I could race it. Like, I was worried, but I didn't think I would aggravate it so much. Because it's easy to say like, oh, if you feel something is wrong, like just don't train or just like take it easy. The reality is, if you would always do that, you would never train. But I'm not advocating for like push through pain, push through an injury. Like, that's definitely not my angle at all. For me, it's when it's abnormal pain, and especially I focus a lot when it's pain that is not necessarily muscular. When it's muscular and muscle soreness, most of the time it will improve. Whereas, well, when it's joint pain and it's more like inflammation or something that just doesn't feel right, I kind of know it. And then when you don't have the experience, it's tough to gauge that. But the sign that is getting worse, the sign that you should slow down is that it's getting worse instead of improving, despite like doing like precautionary things like icing, stretching, and these things, and maybe not fully training as hard, but still training, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Then it's time to like step back and not push through it. If you have like ankle pain and you push, and like the next day it's even worse, and you push again and it's even worse, then that's a good sign. Like, it's too much. You got to step back, because you push just 1 or 2 days too much in training on an injury, and then you're adding maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks of recovery, and you push too much, and it can be a very severe injury that would be like wrecking your whole training. Like, you won't be able to race that race in 3 months. But it doesn't mean you need to pull the plug on training immediately. So finding that balance. But there are things that are more concerning, like knee pain, joint pain, ankle pain are much more concerning. And very quickly, even if you're getting like, it doesn't get worse, like it's stabilized or it starts improving a little bit, is asking yourself, okay, well, I had this weird pain. Like, is there maybe something to my training or my routine that I can add to help with that? Like, before even seeing a physiotherapist or anything, it's like, well, I have a lot of pain in my Achilles. Then like, you will quickly realize that what they recommend is like strengthening your calf. So okay, maybe it's not to the level of an injury now. Now it's just a warning that I have some pain, but I'll add to my strength routine more calf exercise, maybe some stretching, but also some strengthening, so that it doesn't come back. And addressing the root source of these things, even if it's not at the injury level, will definitely help you out. And if it's at the injury level, then it's rest. It's not always full rest, though. That's also something that is tricky. Sometimes it's finding other form of exercise that will replace whatever you're doing. For me, I often will be cycling instead of running. If I have a lot of pain that is impact related, I still want to train my muscle and keep them loose and have the blood flow, because a lot of the healing will come from having blood flow, having nutrients coming in, oxygen. And that's why massage are important, right? With muscle pain, you want to have activation of these things. So gentle cycling could be helpful to have this blood flow, to maintain your muscle mass, but also to not aggravate impact related injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, from my perspective, I think Simon is actually fairly good at being in tune with his body, to be honest. Like, I know
that's why Cruel Jewel was so shocking to me.
Yeah, that was really surprising, because
like,
that's so rare. He always goes through sort of different phases and processing around sort of after each race. All right, how am I feeling now? A few days later, how am I actually feeling? What am I watching to be worried? And he's constantly sort of adjusting, and he's learned so much about his body. So for anyone out there who doesn't feel super in tune with their body, which is what I feel, I would say, honestly, what helped me was finding a PT. Like, that's like, in truth, right? Like, when I had an ankle injury, and it was like an acute traumatic injury, which is different than like I knew it wasn't tendonitis. Like, it wasn't an overuse thing. I know I acutely injured it, and I was scared about how to recover. It was a PT that really helped me understand. I was like, oh, I feel pain with this. And he's like, that is okay pain. That is like your nerves still trying to tell you it's bad when it's actually like it was very helpful to have a professional guide me into that. But that was after a significant, that was like
Yeah, like there were no doubt that you were injured
Yeah.
back then, but then it's like, when can you get back to it was probably the real question in this case, which is hard because you don't want to wait too long, but you don't want to rush it either.
But I think you bring up a really good point. Like, I think almost never is it like, don't do anything and just like straight up rest. I will make that error too, and I'm like, if I just stay off of it, but it's not good. You want to keep moving. You want to be biking. Because like there's so many things that could be leading to whatever the injury is, right? Like a muscle imbalance, a strength imbalance. Like, it's important to keep moving. You don't necessarily want to go run and do some speed work, but you should keep moving. Don't just rest. Consider continuing to engage in your muscles. Think about mobility. Think about these other things that are critical.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. Like there's definitely workout that even if I'm like, I don't think I'm injured, but I'll be more careful about doing. And speed work is definitely like, especially interval. If I'm like, I don't feel 100%, I think I'm okay. It's very easy to just delay the speed work until later in the week and just focus on like a normal slow run and see how it feels, like testing the water. You're still fully training. It's just that instead of doing this, like the interval, like the 5:30-minute mile pace, like you're just taking it slower, because that's when like you really like could like tear something in work and training. And like you say, going back to basic also, it's like sleep well, eat well, like these things really help. It's not sufficient, but if you don't do these things, like I see it myself when through work, like again, like we're, as much as we'd love to pretend that like we're just hanging around and like running in Tahoe and having fun, like we have decently stressful job, and sometimes for me that means like I sleep very little, and I will see my body really struggling with my training and having pain everywhere and thinking like, okay, like I was fine, but I'm not getting the basic nutrient and sleep that I need to train full speed, and I'm just gonna dial it down a little bit before getting actually injured, and then like coming back when I'll be able to put in proper rest time, proper sleep time. These things are overrated. It's not sexy to say like you should take a rest day, you should sleep, but it's like it's so important. It's really so important. So,
yeah. Oh, this is so pretty.
Yeah, that was a nice sunset. That was the best view. And like I remember even Stuart saying like, hey, like you timed this perfectly. We were cresting on that last big climb. We have the nice sunset, and we had the photographer also there, and it was like so great. That's Stuart again. And I was like, hey, like walk, I'm gonna film you. Nora knows how annoying it can be, but like I'm gonna take a nice shot. Like you gotta wait for me, and then you gotta come. But that was absolutely great, and the photographer was probably just back then. And it started getting cold fairly quickly. Maybe it's my body was really tired, but I started being cold almost immediately, and I wanted to get down to tree line, but it was super windy. And at the same time, it's around the time when we crest that I started having acid reflux. I took a caffeine pill, which I never do, so I'm wondering, like in retrospect, if that's maybe the issue. I took a caffeine pill when we were at the Spooner, the last aid station, and then finally, like I was having acid reflux, and like it felt bad. We sat down maybe like a clip or two after what I'm showing right now, and I turned to Stuart and was like, "Hey, like, do you have antacid or something?" It's like, "No." It's like, okay, and I knew I was gonna puke, like, eventually, which definitely happened. That might be what I'm saying on this clip, but I just like started puking and wrecking. It was just super painful. And it's like, man, like we're like 10 miles from the finish. I was doing great. I just could walk in and it would be fine. But I puked everything, low energy, dehydrated. I was dizzy a little bit. For almost until the very end, like I always like have a little bit of like, oh, like something's gonna come up, and it did come up at some point that I puked again later, but there was just nothing in my stomach anymore. So you can't see it in my face. Like I'm totally like I'm gone now. It just degraded like bang like that. You can never take these things for granted, but it made it. Yeah, we're gonna push to the finish, and it just felt like it's never ending. Like you're so close on paper. Like my watch was probably saying 200 mile by then. Like we're almost there, but we're not. And like I stopped a couple of times, slept there, massaged my feet, and just felt sorry for myself, but didn't want to eat because anything that I would do with my stomach was like just feeling really bad. Actually, the time I puked afterwards was after drinking a little bit of water, so I felt like, okay, it gotta be empty until the end, but it did not feel good, and I was so glad when we were finally over, which is coming up soon.
Yeah. There's one question from Randy Cruz. As far as trail shoes, do you prefer larger cushion for comfort or less cushion for speed?
Oh, I definitely prefer with a lot of cushion, especially for longer distance. Actually, one of my issue that is pretty chronic is I have a lot of pain here on my heel when it's a 200 miler, and then we don't see it anymore, but I can show here. And I have a fair amount of inflammation here when it's longer distance. So this is more when it's 100 mile, and under here it's when it's 200 miler. Like it will be super painful to step, and I gotta sit down like that. It's not necessarily, in this case I was also tired, but sometimes it's not even that I'm tired, it's just that my feet underneath is just so painful from the repeated impact that I gotta take 20 minutes, and taking 20 minutes off my feet will bring me like another 10 mile, not painless, but at least like tolerable pain. uh, but also what's interesting is these shoes, Joe Nimbles, I've used them in, I believe, all of my 200 miler in the last 50 to 100 mile. I just switched to them because everything else is painful and I have blister, and they have a pretty wide toe box, which is definitely an issue for a lot of shoes, especially these like longer race. Your feet start swelling, you start having blister, and it's just very bad. But these really protect me. Oh wow, I was not feeling well. Oh, well, I guess that was the finish line. So I skipped all the way to the finish line apparently. I guess I was not filming much because I was just so tired. But yeah, finding the right shoe is definitely something that is difficult. And one of the challenge of like running my channel, trying new shoes all the time to give reviews, is if I like a shoe, that's great. But next week I got to try something else, and that means that sometimes you take very much the wrong shoe for a race, and it's very painful. And it's not great. But yeah, I was so happy to be done. I like the last segment when I started puking, like the fun was gone. Just before that, the fun was still there. It was still an adventure, very challenging, right? But like it was still fun. Whereas as soon as I started puking, I was like, I just want to be done. And like I'm so over this. Like if the race was over now, it'd be great. But they had a nice setup. Like they had a cot inside, so I was able to sleep there. And then I was able to, actually, I love that. That's something that's more common, I guess, for 200 miler. But going back to the finish line and seeing people finish through the day as opposed to just like doing your things. So yes, I slept a little bit, changed, and kind of washed a little bit, but I didn't have an hotel anyway, and I spent the day just hanging out until I had to go back to the plane. But that was great. I hang out with a bunch of Quebecois. One of them did great. Dave finished fifth. He was actually, that's random, but he was paced by Stuart, which is the person who was pacing me. So we had the same pacer, just different pace. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing to see him finish, I think 66 hours or something like that, which is like crazy when you think about it. It's like 24-hour faster than me, so a full day cycle. So that was really cool. But yeah, that was a great experience. It was sad that Nora was not there. She couldn't come, but I guess next time I'm doing it for sure. She's gonna be around, or maybe she's gonna be racing it, because these trails are gorgeous. Definitely recommend the race, but you gotta be used to long distance by yourself. And if you can, acclimate to altitude. That was by far my biggest struggle. I did not acclimate at all. I came directly from sea level, and I felt it. All of the climbs were so slow because of that. I was just really struggling, and I feel there's nothing you can do against that, and that's just too bad. So yeah, so we're seeing people finish, which is always so fun. Like, you feel so happy for them while you're eating pizza. Actually, yeah, there was pizza at the finish line. That pizza was great. And I had, I don't know, 3 different pizza, and I had fresca. Also, they had fresca, which was great. And then you have the classic. You pick your buckle, but you're like, you're so tired, like you just want to sit down, but you want to pick the right buckle for you. But I was thinking about it before coming in, so I knew I wanted a blue buckle with a bear, and then it was just about picking the right one. Nice dog. But yeah, he was not excited to see me. So yes, that's it. Any questions, folks?
No, and there are no other questions after that. So
all right, well, I think we're gonna wrap up very soon, but I really appreciate you guys joining. It's I love doing these things and connect. I know I don't necessarily, I'm not, I if you have recommendation on how to do the live stream, like please let me know. I tried, like, I put these movies together in the background so that you would have some decent footage playing at the same time. Like, should I focus more on the race or answering questions? Just like let me know, because I'm trying to do something that is helpful. Also, I'm always looking for recommendation on what do you think would be a good tip video, or what do you want to see on the channel. um, Reach out to me or write it in the comments. You followed the stream, like, I would really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, leave a comment in the comment section, not just on the chat. It's helping my stuff be seen. Obviously, I'll put a movie together for Tahoe 200. I'm probably gonna do Cruel Jewel first, but very soon I'm publishing the movie is basically ready on the top 10 toughest ultra. But if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I mean, the whole point of my channel is to make the sport accessible, to it in my free time. So knowing what people want is actually helpful. Instead of trying to guess what people want to learn, knowing what like is mysterious about the sport, or what you're struggling with, is helpful, because then I can do videos that are actually helpful, and it makes the effort more worthwhile to be able to help people. But I saw so many great people at the race, people that I know felt the videos in general are helpful. So I really appreciate that. I think we have a great community. We have all our ways to be part of the community, be positive in the community. So really appreciate saying I all the time, even though I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry about that. Mike was there, so it was great running with you. Thank you for the footage. If you have more, like, you still have time to send me more, because I'm definitely gonna include it in the movies. And guys, if you want to go have a look at Mike's channel, maybe Mike, if you're still there, you can put the name. It's Trail Runner Point of View with Mike and Michelle. I guess that's the name. Yeah, Trail Runner Point of View with Mike and Michelle. Have a look at his channel. Smaller channel, I think we gotta hang out. I'm myself, I do consider myself to be a small independent channel. Like, it's a one-man band with Nora, so I guess a two-man band, but we're not the big sponsored corporate kind of channel. And I think what we put together is very honest. And I know Mike and Michelle is the same thing out there. It comes from loving the sport and having great adventure. So I think it's good to have a look, because even if it's not as polished as if someone has a cameraman and an editor and everything, the heart of it can be there. So have a look, guys.
Yeah.
Is there any question that popped out?
One last one, which was really about, do we attend any races in San Diego?
That is so funny. The answer is no, and that is very frustrating. Oh, yeah. But I thought it was future oriented. So Nora did the PCT 50 last year, yes, which was immediately after Cocodona. But yeah, we haven't raced so much, and we're not planning any. I was supposed to pace for San Diego 100, but because of the injury, I kind of skipped it, which is too bad. It would have been great to help them, but someday I'm gonna do San Diego 100. It's just, I don't know. The timing is never right. It's just never right. Early June for San Diego 100 is just, there's always something around that time that prevents me from doing it. But yeah,
we'll try to do more. And if folks
to do more, yes.
If folks in San Diego want to hang and want to run with us, let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, we're looking for local buddies for sure. When it comes to running, we're very often on the road, obviously, but it's good to be involved with the local community. I mean, that's where I usually volunteer on the PCT for trail work. That's where I do it, like around Kumakai. I don't say it right. Yeah, exactly. That's the trail I work on usually. So it's with the, what's the name? Surf, yeah. San Diego Ultra Running Friends. That's our local group, local running group. So, well, thanks everyone, and yeah, happy end of the weekend. I'm sorry, maybe I should do it at the beginning of the weekend.